and away for 4. So tough for young Hull, but he's learning all the time.
Leicestershire with 2 men out at fine leg and deep, backward square leg. It is Hull. He charges in once more. He bowls outside off stump, and it's an attempted leg cut fielded by, is that Sol Budinger there? It's sort of, I don't know what you call it, short third man, I suppose that is. They've still got a slip in. And we saw Hull, didn't we? We were right in line with the practice pitch with a lovely bit of swing away from what would be away from the left-hander into the right-hander. But he's bowling to the left-handed Vasconcelos at the moment. Is he South African, Vasconcelos, by birth?
Yes,
or
yes.
nationality?
Yeah, no, by birth, but just has a Portuguese passport. Presumably his mum or dad.
Here is Hull. Future star, he bowls, straight delivery, back of a length, and Vasconcelos with one hand almost throw comes in for an attempted run out. Vasconcelos was comfortably there, handscomb with the one-handed throw, and they scamper through for a single 7 for no loss. Leicestershire haven't won in their last 4 games. They had a tie against Northamptonshire in what was the game of the season so far from a Leicestershire perspective, probably from the Steelbacks too. Lewis Goldsworthy hitting a 4 off the final ball to get them a tie. But then it was a washout against Notts, and then 2 defeats in a row against Derbyshire here on Saturday even.
Lewis would take hitting a 4, I think edging it, didn't he really?
Yeah.
But we'll take it.
Yes, it was fortunate of Northamptonshire players sinking to their knees. They thought they got themselves right back in it. We should have won it. Hull into Breitsker for his first delivery, thick edge for 4. Not a lot of foot movement from that. It was an attempted drive down the ground or through the covers from Breitsker. But he's got a big bat, he's a big broad-shouldered South African, is Breitsker. And so through it went behind square on the offside for 4 runs. So an expensive first over, 10 for no loss, but there was in it. There's enough, it was at 11 off the over, sorry. That's a relatively expensive first over, but there was something in it for Hull. It wasn't overly comfortable for the batsman. 1 over gone.
Seemed to come onto the bat quite nicely, a bit of pace in it, so it might be a 180 plus pitch, hopefully, maybe a 200 pitch. Who knows? Well, Leicestershire sticking with the plan that they've stuck to in previous games, which is that Ben Mike opens the bowling. He can be a little bit expensive early on, can Ben, but he can swing it as well, so we'll see how he gets on. He's going to be bowling from the Bennett end, 10 wickets in the competition in the 11 games in which he has participated. Round the wicket he comes to Vasconcelos, bowls on the leg side, wristily turned down to deep backward square. There is a deep backward square in the substantial form of Jimmy Neesham, in front of the Uptonsteel popular stand over there alongside the meet. Well populated already, filling up all the time as more and more come in from work. Breitsker, left-handed of course, so Lewis Goldsworthy goes out to deep backward point, and the other man out, he says, looking around, is actually at extra cover. I beg your pardon, right-hander, so mid-wicket and deep backward square. In goes Mike and bowls on, off stump, slightly short of a good length. Breitsker, an equally substantial figure of a man, just leans forward and blocks it out towards backward point where Sol Budinger is the fielder. Perhaps, as we were discussing beforehand, a little fortunate to retain his place. But he has, and Budinger very much one of those players who comes off or doesn't. 50 in his first game, in the first T20 game of the season against Yorkshire. Mike is in, bowls straighter to Breitsker, who tucks it out towards square leg, takes the first one quickly. It might have been a second, probably would have been actually, if they'd both gone straight away. Rishi Patel was running to his left, picking up in his wrong hand, so to speak. He would have had to swap hands, but they didn't take the chance, the two Northamptonshire openers. They settle for the single. Breitsker on to 5, 13 without loss. Mike goes back round to the left-hander, Vasconcelos. I thought we'd only had 2 balls in this over.
Yeah.
Is it 3? Is that right? I think we had singles off the first two. In goes Mike, and bowls driven, and he's got that one away. Didn't quite time it perfectly, so Goldsworthy will drag it back around about 4 yards inside the ropes out there at extra cover. They are going to make 3 though. It is a long throw. That is the long side of the ground. Given where the pitch has been cut, it's probably about 64, 65 yards to the west side, and maybe something like 80 to the east side of the ground, the Milligan Road side of the ground.
It's been brought in, what, 10, 15 metres from the advertising hoardings on that side.
16 without loss as Mike back over the wicket to Breedska. Down the leg side, comes off the hip, or did it come off the bat? Either way, it's gone down to fine leg for 4. It came off the bat. He just waited for it, played it very calmly, bounced up very nicely, but it was misdirected from Ben Mike, and with Patel at short fine, absolutely no chance, and a bit of a gimme from Ben Mike.
And that's the problem. They are there with some sort of regularity. Breedska, all he had to do was get a little nibble on that, and he gets it away for 4 runs.
Mike is going for sort of 10 and over in the competition, and it is quite high. So it is difficult opening the bowling. It can be. Mike is in, bowls again to Breedska, straight a line on off stump this time, dabs it down towards short third man, or short backward point sort of position where Budinger picks up. It is a dot ball to finish the over, but it is 9 from it, so after 2 overs, Northamptonshire without alarm have built a solid platform. They're 20 without loss.
So let's tell you the picture in terms of the table. Birmingham Bears on 16, they're likely through. They're played 10. Lancashire played 11 on 14. Northamptonshire in 3rd on 12. 2 wins will definitely do it for them. 1 win from their remaining 3 might be enough. Although they don't have the best net run rate, do they? So they may struggle with that. They may need 2 wins. Josh Hull will continue from the pavilion end, the end closest to us. He's in, he bowls, and that's flashed away for 4. I thought it was going to go for 4, but it's a decent stop from Louis Kimber at point. He deflects it, and it may still trickle to the boundary. No, Rahan Ahmed off the mark like a sprinter.
Saved 2 brilliantly there, didn't he, Kimber, really?
Yeah, it was well hit. And even though he parried it somewhat, Kimber, he has saved 2 runs. 22 for no loss, start of the 3rd over. Derbyshire in 4th on 11, Durham in 5th on 11, Leicestershire in 6th on 10, Yorkshire in 7th on 10. Those are the teams that are fighting for a place in the top 4. Hull past the umpire, he bowls, and it's hit high up in the air. There's a man at fine leg who should take this, running around and catches it. Is that Mike out there back in the deep at fine leg?
It looks like Rishi.
It might be Rishi Patel who has caught it. Yes, actually Mike's running over from deep backward square leg. Rishi Patel is the man who's caught it. Difficult catch, it was clearly swirling in the air as the ball was went high up from the top edge from the pull, and it was caught well by Vasconcelos. Off Vasconcelos, I should say, has to depart for 13, and it's 22 for 1. A key breakthrough, actually, because as Richard said at the end of the 2nd over, those two without much work seemingly set a decent platform, but Vasconcelos has to go.
Replaced by another left-hander in the form of the experienced David Willey, but it is a big breakthrough. One feels, really. I thought for a minute it was going to sort of swirl over his head, but there's no real wind around Grace Road tonight. All the trees are very still, and the ball actually dropped about 8-10 feet inside the ropes, and he caught it low, didn't he, which is always slightly risky. You always like to try and get your chest under it just in case it pops out. There's going to be a second barrier, but he took it cleanly enough.
He sort of he had his knee out to the side, didn't he, and was catching it. It must have, it's when it's swirling like that that it makes it so difficult to judge the depth of it. So 22 for 1. David Willey is the new batsman. England international for so long. Back at Northamptonshire after a spell at Worcestershire. Won the T20 for...
Or even Yorkshire.
What did I say? Worcestershire? I meant Yorkshire. Yes, thank you for the correction. Yorkshire was in my head, Worcestershire came out of my mouth. There we go. Josh Hull to bowl the 3rd ball of the over. In he comes, as defended by Willey. Textbook forward defensive shot.
Batted really nicely at Wantage Road, didn't he? 71 against Leicestershire earlier this season.
The floodlights on at Grace Road. Still grey skies above, but the rain not threatening. It's still pretty high. Yeah, so you've got 7 teams there fighting for a spot. but Birmingham are probably already through, having got 16. And with 4 games to go, Hull running away from us. He's up to the wicket, he bowls. Straight delivery on a leg stump line. It's clipped away into the leg side. Willie is off the mark. Some other games tonight as well across the country. Durham 24 for 1 against Notts.
That's huge, isn't it, for both these two sides playing here tonight. Northamptonshire have actually played a game less, haven't they? They've got a game in hand.
They do. Yes. So the only 2 teams who have played 10 games are Birmingham, Northants, and Notts. Leicestershire would have played 12 by the end of the evening.
It does look as though Birmingham and Lancashire are probably going to go through. It's the rest of us playing for the other 2 places.
BBC Radio Leicester as Josh Hull comes in, backward cut for 4. Just a very late shot. It's a very lovely shot, that, from Breetzke. You don't often see the late cut played like that. He really sort of leant back and chopped it behind square. It went past slit. It was that fine, but a lovely shot from Breetzke. And that moves the Steelbacks onto 27 for 1. Breetzke on to 13. It's probably shot of the day so far. It's been interesting, actually. It's felt like the batsmen have been a little bit late on the shot so far when they tried to come forward and drive. But on that occasion, Breetzke waited for it and used the pace to great effect. Hull, brown hair, highlights in his hair, all in green. Kicks up his heels now. He's up to the wicket, he bowls. A slower delivery. Breetzke attempts the same late cut, and this time he finds slip, so there is no run. And that is the end of the over. 7 off it? Yes, Richard. So 7 off that, so not a bad over from Hull. They'll take 7. 27 for 1 the score, with 3 overs gone. T20 Blast Cricket, BBC Radio Leicester, Leicester against Northamptonshire, an East Midlands rivalry. And a key game for Leicestershire if they hope to make it through to the quarter-finals.
Yeah, you'd absolutely take 7 runs and a top-order wicket as well. Early on, Willie takes guard. The 2 umpires tonight, incidentally, Naeem Ashraf and very experienced Paul Pollard. And the match referee, if that's what they're still called, they've been gone under various names over the years. It's Will Smith, the former Durham skipper. It's going to be Jimmy Neesham, whose impact has been sort of less than overwhelming in these first 3 games. He'll be anxious to do well tonight, the New Zealander. In he comes and bowls to Willie bowled him. Well, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. It was a foolish delivery. Willie was on the back foot, may just have swung a bit, and that could be huge from Neesham. Talk about making an impact. He definitely did there.
Yeah, that was a lovely delivery. And you're absolutely right, Richard. That's his first wicket, and he'd been going at 11 and over, Neesham. So to get that impact straight up and to get rid of Willie, who is so dangerous. A nice bit of swing.
A bit of in-swing, yeah.
Could this be his day?
Yeah, it needed that. You feel Jimmy Neesham against the side. He's represented a few counties. I think you counted them up. There was a 5 of them at least.
5, yeah. Might have been 6.
Leicestershire possibly the 6th. Willie downcast, leaves the field. He, as I say, batted very well at Wantage Road, but not tonight. And actually, our colleague from BBC Radio Northamptonshire, Andrew Radd, said he's a bit concerned about Northamptonshire tonight. He said they've been a little bit inconsistent in their competition, win one, lose one. He said, but when they've lost, they haven't sort of looked too much up for it. And at the moment, there is a little bit of a sense of that. Well, if they can get Bopara early, because Bopara applies himself whatever the circumstances, and this is a key wicket if Neesham can get Bopara early. 27 for 2 as Neesham is in, bowls to Bopara on off stump. He walks forward into defensive press, drops it back down the pitch to Jimmy Neesham, who underarms the ball to Rehan Ahmed, who bowls it to Scott Curry, who gives him a little bit of a look because it bounced a couple of times before it reached Curry. You might as well look after it while it has a little bit of shine, if that's the right word. It just doesn't shine. The sort of dye or whatever it is comes off these white balls, doesn't it? You can't keep them in any way like the red balls. They are completely different in that respect, at least. In goes Neesham, bowls. Bopara again is walking forward into defensive push. It goes past Neesham, who stuck out his left hand, seeing that Bopara was walking down the wicket towards him. It bounced past Neesham's left hand out towards Curry, who keeps the ball in his right hand as he bowls a pretend loosener, runs up. So we were remarking in the build-up, a very mixed bag from Scott Curry yesterday. Hit a couple of lusty blows towards the end of the innings. No mean batsman, Curry, but obviously primary role as a bowler. Neesham is in, bowled. Bopara drives in the air, but he's got it into the gap in the covers to the right of Louis Kimber. We'll give him the credit of saying that he placed it perfectly. It was absolutely at a catchable height, but it was well wide of Kimber. Also Rahan Ahmed, and it runs out to the extra cover boundary for 4.
I think, again, you see, I don't think Jimmy Neesham will mind that at all. Bopara won't mind it either because he got 4 runs, but the drives haven't been coming off. It's feeling Bopara a little bit early on that, but teams, the batsmen have been struggling to time their drives and get on the front foot.
Neesham, first runs he's conceded is in, goes past the outside edge of Bopara's bat. Bopara looks back down the pitch. Did that one just bounce on him a little bit or seam a little bit? Let's have a look. Well, the stream is a fraction behind as we look back, but I'll tell you exactly what that did in a moment, but certainly it beat the outside edge. This is as well as we've seen Neesham bowl, 1 for 4 from his first 5 balls. Oh, it went actually in through the inside edge. It cut him in half and over the top of the stumps. In my excuses were at sort of long leg with the pitch cut to one side, but in goes Neesham and bowls, driven firmly. Oh, and through Curry. That was disappointing. Curry will be embarrassed about that. He dived over the top of the ball, it went through him, and 4 runs as a consequence. He lifts his hand in apology to his captain, Peter Hanscom. But very Scott Curry reaction there. A none, basically. Having dived over, he just sort of rolled over, picked himself up and ran to the end because he's about to bowl from this pavilion end. But curious little episode. Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen something like that before. The ball just going completely underneath him, the ball running away to the boundary, didn't even look at where it had gone. Got up, jogged over, and has taken the ball to start bowling. It will be Curry from the pavilion end, which is the end closest to us. The crowd still trickling in. There's a healthy contingent in the beer tent on the far side of the ground. As Curry, right arm over the wicket, bowls to the right-handed Breetzker, again with that late cut, and they go through for the single. Bopara's called him through. There's a shy at the stumps from Patel at slip, but there is no run.
I have to wait for it. I thought it maybe a slightly slower ball or a loosener, but as you say, it might just be sticking a bit in the pitch.
Tall man, Curry, brown hair. He's got the ball back. Breetzker has his shoelaces. And interesting to see how Bopara goes. Is that stat, isn't there? If you lose 3 wickets in the power play, you are under pressure. 4.1 overs gone so far. 36 for 2, the Steelbacks. Curry in, bowls, and that's pulled uppishly again from Bopara, but safely out to Rahan Ahmed, one of 2 men in the deep backward square leg. Third man, the other man outside the infield. Again, some supporters in England flag. Flag of St George with a Leicestershire crest on it over to our right hand side. The Stencham Benno stand well populated. Also in the Geary bar. As Curry in again, bowls, and Breetzker makes room for himself and hits that high over the top and for 6. Just a few metres over the boundary rope, square of the wicket on the offside. He made room for himself, premeditated, and Curry really sort of bowled it straight into the slot for him, sadly. Carved away for 4 runs, and that is the first 6 of the day. It moves Northamptonshire on to 43 for 2 halfway through the 5th over. Breetzker on to 20.
That is a big hit, and he's a strong man. That's carried a good 80 yards.
It's a big, brutal hit. He's very square-shouldered, Breetzker, as Curry is in. This time he goes back and punches it square of the wicket to Goldsworthy at point, and a single is taken. So pretty well, Breetzker. I mean, he was the top scorer in the South African domestic competition. Got scouted to come over to Northamptonshire. They do get very good overseas players, Northamptonshire, don't they? Chris Lynn in previous years, they've been. I mean, Ashton Agar is a very experienced player. He's the all-rounder, their sort of bowler, overseas bowler. Curry in, back goes Bopara and defends. sensible from Bopara. They've got all the runs they really need from this innings, no, from this over, I should say. 9 off it. Anything else, a bit of a bonus. 1 ball left in it. And
nice murmur around the ground, isn't there? A lot of tickets sold for tonight. They're hoping for 2,500 to 3,000, but could be by the time everybody arrives.
Curry it is. Past the umpire, he bowls a slower delivery straight, and that tucked Bopara up a little bit. He wasn't overly comfortable, and a dot ball from that. So strong end to the over, but the damage was done with that big 6 from Brietzke. So 44 for 2 is the score at the end of the 5th, and it's a nicely poised match at the moment. One more wicket would really put this in Leicestershire's camp by the end of the power play, but Northamptonshire, with Brietzke still there, will feel they've got the foundations to build a decent innings. You're right, there's a nice murmur around the ground. Again, it's just the problem that what you want is a balmy summer's evening for this, and we've every cricket.
We've had one, do we, really?
We haven't had one of those great nights down at Uptonsteel Council Ground, wherever else you go, where it's hot and sunny, you can have a few beers. It just hasn't been like that. You've got to bring your jacket for pretty much everyone.
Neesham in from the Bennett end, bowls to Brietzke, just holds it back a bit. Brietzke walks forward, dabs the short of a length delivery down towards backward point. Budinger moves across to his left to field. Dot ball, 44 for 2, remains the score. Very hard to judge what a good score will be, but I have a feeling of sort of 170-ish will be in the game. We shall see. Neesham turns, very straight run, bowls, driven in the air but wide or inside. Scott Curry got hold of that one again. Brietzke, it was a little bit in the slot, went past Curry at catchable height, but it went past him very quickly, and it went past him a good few feet to his right. There was no real chance of him getting across to cut the ball off, so Brietzke happy to hit the ball in the air and hit it very hard as well.
Yeah, that was a massive hit. Did you notice how that crashed into the crowd there off one bounce? It was almost like that was still picking up pace after it bounced. He really hits a long ball, does Brietzke. He hits it really hard.
Neesham is in and bowls, a little bit short, pulled. It didn't really get up. He's going to have to hurry there, Brietzke. Great throw from Ben Mike, who's appealing for the run out because it did hit the stumps. It runs out towards the cover boundary where Louis Kimber is the fielder, but no, umpire Ashraf said that the diving Brietzke had made his ground. Certainly Mike was the only one to really get excited there, but it was a nice piece of fielding from Ben Mike at mid-wicket, picked it up and hurled the ball at the stumps. Brietzke just made his ground. He moves on to 26, 49 for 2. Taking the pace off might be key on the pitch. Neesham in to Bopara, who pulls, doesn't get hold of it, cloths it a little bit, hits it very straight and in the air, bounces once before Hanscom fields at mid-on on the edge of the circle. Another dot ball.
He struggled to time it throughout this innings, Bopara. So 9 off 9.
But if he can stay in, well, we know how much damage he can do. Batted very nicely throughout the competition, really, for Northamptonshire. She's joined on a white ball contract. In goes Neesham. Bopara is down the pitch and smashes him straight back over his head. Neesham didn't see him coming, or at any rate, he didn't adjust his length, so Bopara made it into a slot ball, and, well, a real flourish as he lifted that straight back over the umpire and into the black screens, the sight screens up there at the Bennett end. Umpire Ashraf will need to inspect that. You can see actually in the black screens the sort of various places where it's been hit, because they've taken chunks out of it which have sort of turned white, obviously painted black on this side. Lovely hit from Bopara. He moves on to 15. Neesham is in, bowls to him. He's driving again. Curry will get across to his left. He didn't put his full weight into the shot. Pressed firmly, really. Bopara takes one, keeps the strike, and probably, given that 2 wickets had been lost for 27, the Steelbacks won't be unhappy with 56 for 2 at the end of the 6 overs.
No, I think that's a pretty handy total for them. And bar Brietzke and probably a few shots right at the end from Bapara, it never really felt like the timing was quite there, but it was almost like they crashed through the wall that they were up against in terms of timing it, and they've got themselves a handy little score. Well, we'll leave you shortly on BBC Radio Leicester on FM. Listen to Letitia George take you through the rest of your Friday on FM, but if you want to stay tuned to the cricket, hear how this local rivalry and local derby finishes in the T20 Blast, DAB, BBC Sounds, BBC Sport website and app is the place to go. Rahan Ahmed will bowl the 7th over of the innings from the pavilion, and he bowled brilliantly yesterday. And he bowls his first delivery, stopped at point. It means they can scamper through for a single. Budden just stopping it, but not catching it, as it were, or grabbing it. And so a single is added to the total. Bapara on to 17 off 12, 57 for 2. Yeah, Ahmed's figures yesterday, 1 for 20 off 4 overs, just 5 and over. That's fabulous stuff from the England all-rounder. Right-handed Brietzke now, sort of fiddles, bends and crouches, and Ahmed tosses it up, also Yorker length that with a bit of drift, and it's driven off the back foot. I do find it extraordinary that there's no foot movement in that whatsoever, just the hand-eye coordination of a player like Brietzke, as he guided it along the floor with an arch of the blade, making use of all the drift that Ahmed's bowling with, and he bowls a full delivery on leg stump this time. Bapara hitting it into the leg side, where a single will be taken once again. Moves it to 58 for 2. Brietzke on to 27. Yeah, Bapara, of course, a name familiar to cricket fans. He's been part of as Ahmed bowls. Oh, and there's an outside edge, a thick outside edge. You might get 4 for it, Brietzke. That's rushing away through the outfield, and it will go for 4. Behind square on the offside. Nicely bowled by Ahmed. He'll feel unfortunate there because he got Brietzke driving and he got him edging too, but it is Brietzke who gets 4 runs for it. Yeah, so Sam Bapara, part of the England team for a while, 13 tests he played. 121 days, part of that one-day setup for such a long time. Now he's part of the regular T20 circuit. Ahmed bowls to Brietzke, who whips him away on the leg side off his heels, and that will be another single. Without a lot of fuss, Richard, Northamptonshire putting together a handy
he looks
total.
like a very dangerous player, doesn't he, Brietzke, with that power?
Wow, 50 partnership.
No, it's not. Not even close.
Yeah, no, it can't be.
27 for 2.
Ahmed in. Oh, he beats him outside. He's off stump, appeal for stumping, and Cox is celebrating. He thought that he dismissed Bapara, but the umpire's finger remains
not even close.
down. Yeah, when was the fall of the wicket?
27
for 2. So that's 25. That's
he just can't do his
35.
sums. Yeah, ridiculous. A little bit of turn there for Rahan, and Cox whipped off the bails. Not much turn, really. It wasn't the greatest shot that Brietzke's played, I must say.
BBC Radio Leicester live T20 cricket between Leicestershire and Northamptonshire in the T20 Blast. The conditions improving. I dare I say it. There's a tiny, there's a strange orange orb in the sky that's poking its way through. I think there.
Do you want to do the 7 o'clock sign off?
I think we're doing it at 3 minutes past 7.
Ah, right you are. So, Lewis Goldsworthy, who, like Ahmed, bowled really nicely yesterday at Worcester, is going to bowl from the Bennett end. Round the wicket he goes, bowls. Brietzke drives very pleasantly out towards deep extra cover. Didn't try and overhit it. Neesham runs up the rope. Fields gets his throw away. Brietzke settles for 1, moves on to 33. 25-year-old Matthew Brietzke has played one-day international cricket, 6 of them. In goes Goldsworthy, bowls Fuller this time. Bapara whips him away off his toes, out towards deep mid-wicket. Bit of ground, though, to make up, running to his left for man fielding on the mid-wicket boundary, who's Louis Kimber. By the time he gets there, Bapara, who's still quick, despite being 39, called and made his ground for the second. Goldsworthy is in. Bapara with that characteristically wristy cut away through the offside, out towards Jimmy Neesham, who throws on the bounce to Ben Cox.
So wide of the crease there, Richard, did you notice? Incredibly wide on the crease, Goldsworthy.
Have to use all the weapons at your disposal when you're bowling in this form of the game. He uses his feet there, Breetzke, to get to the pitch of the ball, just pushes it back through the vacant mid-on area out towards Ahmed, who's at long on, takes one. Milking the bowling nicely in this over. Breetzke and Bapara, 69 for 2. Goldsworthy is in. Attempted sweep. I don't think he got anything on it. Might have come off the pad. Might have been a bit of inside edge onto the pad. It trickled down towards short fine, where Rishi Patel was the fielder. Put a lot of effort into that. Bapara just didn't hit it. Goldsworthy is in. Sweeps again off the stumps this time, but he's got it past Patel. Again, he didn't get it off the middle. Mike throws hard. Oh, horrible bounce. Could pick up an extra run there. No, they won't, as Hanscom backs up. It was a horrible throw from Ben Mike. He apologises to Ben Cox. 70 for 2. So just the 6 runs from the over. It wasn't for want of effort from Bapara in particular. He swung away, but it was nicely bowled for Goldsworthy.
And again, Ahmed and Goldsworthy together, brilliant partnership. They strangled Worcestershire yesterday, got them right back into the game after an explosive start. And you fear that, well, no, you don't fear. From a Leicestershire perspective, Leicestershire fans will hope that they do the same again. So 70 for 2 is the score. Breetzke on 34, Bapara on 22 at the end of the 8th over. The run rate 8.8. And it will be Ahmed to continue. First over went for 8, and his first delivery is straight. That may have been the googly coming back into the right-handed Bapara. And just to say, we will now be splitting. You have a choice of listening now, BBC Radio Leicester listeners, if you want to carry on listening to this fabulous East Midlands derby. And DAB, the BBC Sport website, BBC Sounds, is the place to go. So Ahmed just waits before delaying. If you want to listen to Letitia George, then FM is the place to go. From all of us, goodbye. And the ball tossed up by Ahmed and played off the back foot. It's carved by Bapara out to the boundary. It's fielded by Mike. 2 is added to the total. 74 for 2. 26 he moves on to. That takes the partnership, I think, to 45 now between these two.
Mike throws very athletically. He needs to. He's a long way out there, isn't he? I feel my shoulders put a popping as he throws.
As Ahmed again tosses this one up, straight delivery. I think he's getting a lot of spin, but he concedes a single as Bapara plays him down the ground to move on to 27, 75 for 2.
Never really does he, Rahan? Just does enough, really. It's not like Adil Rashid or someone like that.
Past the umpire again, he bowls, back goes Breetzke, and it's played to cover. Hanscom is waiting, sort of between cover and mid-off. Actually, Hanscom is quite a square mid-off. Ahmed again, and he comes, and there's the big heave. He's not got all of that, and he might be out. Actually, he is down the ground. Curry takes it, and Breetzke has to depart. That sort of come out of nothing, really. They were bashing him round to all corners of the ground, not getting the boundaries, but they looked pretty comfortable. And then Breetzke went for the big punt and didn't time it at all. It might have been actually off the top of the bat, maybe the bottom, but he hit it straight to Curry at long on, and that is the 3rd wicket. That's a big moment in Leicestershire's innings. They've stopped a partnership that was developing very nicely, and with 1 ball left in the 9th over, Northamptonshire 75 for 3.
It does feel like a big wicket, that. Just kind of lost patience a bit, and for once that huge power didn't pay off. He didn't quite time it, but he got enough on it to get it all the way to Curry, who, as ever, took the catch and sort of didn't change his expression in any way, shape or form, just took the catch and rolled the ball back to Ahmed. But yeah, partnership actually was, in the end, 48 between Breetzke and Bapara. A lot of pressure now on Bapara, with a lot of responsibility. I don't think he really feels pressure, really, too much at this stage of his career, but you know, they need him, really, to go on and sort of get 70, something like that.
Ahmed in, bowls, back goes Zaib, the new batsman, Saif Zaib, a Northamptonshire Academy product. She's not got a lot of runs in this competition, just 88 from 8 innings. He got half of those in 1 innings. So Zaib plays it out into the offside. He's off the mark straight away and will keep the strike. 76 for 3. Ahmed, 2 overs, 1 for 14. Again, excellent figures from the England all-rounder. And this is all in the balance at the moment. Run rate 8.4 ahead of the start of the 10th over.
Yeah, they definitely did miss him in the couple of games he missed after picking up a concussion at Headingley, falling over on the concrete floor of the rugby stand changing room. Goldsworthy's going to go round the wicket to the left-handed safe Zaib, who sweeps, gets plenty of it as well, but there is a man perfectly placed, Jimmy Neesham, out there in front of the meat, and as a consequence, safe Zaib has to settle for 1. A diminutive figure at the crease. Bapara's not tall either, but both very, very effective. 26-year-old from came through the sort of Buckinghamshire system, didn't he? Safe Zaib. Round the wicket goes. Goldsworthy drops a little bit short. Bapara just waits for it and turns it out towards between square leg and mid wicket. Ben Cox gets there first, goes chasing after it. Full of beans, Cox tonight, in super form with the bat, and essentially he's sort of improved steadily throughout the season with the gloves. I mean, obviously is a fine wicket keeper, but made 1 or 2 mistakes early. Goldsworthy again goes round, hit in the air, but he's got plenty of that one. It is the short side, dropped in the crowd in the Uptonsteel popular stand alongside the meat, but Zaib hasn't been in for very long, but he still went for the sweep, and it was the right length, really, swept on length as much as anything, picked it up very nicely and over Kimber, who's there at the mid-wicket boundary for 6. In goes Goldsworthy, bowls again, drops a little bit short, back goes Zaib and pulls this time, but cloths it slightly, but it's going to go wide of Scott Curry. His throw comes in from deep mid-wicket. He's cross with himself because it's slightly wide of the stumps, and Cox doesn't take it clean. He didn't need to. Zaib had gone for the second and had already comfortably made his ground. A nice pick up, that 6. Lovely swing of the bat.
Yeah, they use that short side quite a bit, I think.
Into double figures already, off just 4 balls. In goes Goldsworthy. Oh, and there's an appeal for a stumping as Cox takes the ball. He misses the sweep this time. Cox whips off the bails, but nope. Says umpire Pollard. The back foot was anchored. The toes were in the crease, but it's probably worth the risk from Safe Zaib and Northamptonshire's point of view with that slightly shorter boundary on that side. Goldsworthy is in. Oh, he goes back and tries to work it into the leg side, comes off a leading edge, goes out towards Ben Mike, who's on the sort of point boundary. Mike comes in to pick up, but had he missed it, he would have been absolutely plumb. He didn't miss it, so Safe Zaib moves on to 11, 87 for 3. We are halfway through the innings, and I was reckoning 175 might be in the game, and it's probably not far off.
Yes. That would be a handsome target. Good evening to Chance Litchfield. Radio Leicester presents. Who's cooking his... is he cooking his steaks and sweet potatoes? Perfect bulking food, that, I think, isn't it?
More to the point, good evening to Lewis Hill.
Good evening.
Yes. As Rehan Ahmed bowls a full delivery, and it's clipped into the leg side. He's going to get 4, actually, through mid-wicket. Perfectly placed from Saif Zaib. Forward off his ankles, and he whipped it away for 4 runs. So 91 for 3, and yes, a very good evening to Lewis Hill. I was just letting you get settled. I was going to introduce you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, very well.
Good.
Thank you.
What did you make of the pitch, Hilly?
Well, it's a brand new wicket for today, isn't it? And
the girls used it earlier, didn't they?
Oh, did they?
Ahmed moves away from us, bowls, and
good delivery.
Yeah, struggled with that slightly. Zaib wasn't sure of the movement, and he gets a single as he just plays it out into the offside. 92 for 3, Zaib under 16.
It's not one of the hybrid pitches, is it?
I haven't actually been out there. I don't think so.
Ahmed it is. Again, right arm, and gets a straight delivery. Does Bapara and plays it straight back to him. What do you make of the start?
Yeah, we could, if we get another couple of wickets in these next few overs, just to pause them a little bit.
Ahmed bowls his beauty. Perfect length on that, and a nice bit of movement as Bapara tried to go back and cut him. but it was too quick for him, and Cox good with the gloves. No run, 92 for 3, the score remains. So Bopara spins the ball from right to left hand, all in green. He moves away from us, tosses this one up. That's swept there. The line wasn't quite right on that occasion, and Bopara was onto that quickly. You can't give him many freebies, and it is swept for 4 runs behind square on the leg side. The score moves on to 96 for 3. Bopara looking dangerous now.
It does look a nice wicket to bat on, just from watching from the sidelines the first 10-11 overs. Hopefully we can restrict them to a par score and we can have a good chase at it tonight.
Ahmed then, final ball of the over. Oh, that did bounce, and Bopara has clubbed that down the ground, baseball style, and he'll get a single, and he will keep the strike. So that's the end of the over. Ahmed's third, the 11th of the innings. 1 for 24, Ahmed's figures, and so there's 10 off the over. 97 for 3, Zaib, 16, Bopara on to 33.
I don't know whether you caught any of the game yesterday, Lewis. Lewis, Goldsworthy and Rehan bowled really nicely in tandem in the middle of the innings, squeezed Worcestershire really nicely and just got a little bit away from them once they were off in terms of the score.
Yeah, I watched all of it actually on the YouTube channel and tuned into you two guys actually, so via the BBC app. So it was a interesting game last night, wasn't it? We were so close, but so far that power play, batting wise, you're obviously behind the 8 ball, but then Kimber and Coxey played 2 lovely innings, and it was just a shame that we were just short. It looked like we were about 20 over par yesterday, I imagine, 15.
It felt a bit that way.
Yeah.
By the
just from watching from my lounge.
Scott Curry is going to come on at the Bennett, and beg your pardon, it's Josh Hull coming on at the Bennett. I wonder why he's bowling round the wicket. Bowls very full to Ravi Bopara, who rather jams it back down into the pitch. Might just have swung into Bopara a touch. So slightly different policy from Pete Hanscom for this game. He bowled Ahmed and Goldsworthy 3 overs each, a sort of 6 over block yesterday, but this time just a couple from
he always goes
Goldsworthy.
To, again, watching from my lounge, which I have done, it looks like he goes back to Hully when he really needs that wicket. Just the whole comp is kind of done that, so hopefully he can repay.
In goes Hull, bowls straight, fullish. Bopara waits for it, plays it firmly, not aggressively, out towards deep mid wicket. Takes his single, moves on to 33. Looks like, well, famous last words, but he's going to try and play, for want of a better word, a sort of anchor role, try and be there towards the end, while perhaps Zaib takes a slightly more aggressive role. He find it maybe a little bit harder to pull Josh Hull into the Uptonsteel stand. In goes Hull, over the wicket to the left-hander, on to the legs, but a little bit quick for Safe. Thumps into the top of the pad, perhaps just a bit bottom of the thigh pad. Oh, he got a little bit of inside edge on it as well. No signal from umpire Ashraf, so the single is taken as it drops out towards short leg.
That is always the thing about Hull, I've noticed. He just look really quick. Even very experienced batsmen look rushed by him.
Yeah, I was actually watching him in the warm-up today as well, speaking to Fons, and he was taking it very high with his mitt, and he looked like he was generating good pace just off a few paces.
He was really thumping into that baseball mitt, wasn't it? Long run. He's only about 5 yards short of the boundary when he actually turns, comes charging down the hill, bowls to Bopara, short pull, top edge slightly. Ben Mike runs around to his right at deep backward square, gets his throwaway on the bounce to Ben Cox, and keeps Bopara 2-1. Brings up the Steelbacks 100 though in the 12th over. A little bit hard to say. Louise, I was thinking of probably 175 might be in the game, but it wouldn't be daunting.
Yeah, I'd say 175, 180, just from what I've seen in the last few overs. And to be honest with you, get a couple of wickets here. You've got McManus and Agar to come after that. You've got Miller, Sanderson, Weatherall and Hydrix.
Hull over the wicket to the left-handed Zaib. Slower ball cut nicely by Zaib down towards wide third man. Goldsworthy runs up the rope, picks up, gets his throwaway, but it is a couple to save Zaib. He moves on to 19, 102 for 3. That may explain why Bopara's just reining it in a little bit at the moment. They don't want to lose another 1 or 2 quickly on that basis.
Yeah, as you've seen in this whole competition, if you have wickets in hand at the end, you can score a lot of runs. as we've seen for us and against us in this competition so far.
Holt to finish his over. Down the slope, bowls again, 2 save, tucks him up slightly, stays on the back foot, just drops the ball out towards mid-wicket. There is no mid-wicket. Rehan Ahmed being out on the boundary. Curry comes running around from mid-on to field. It's extraordinary, isn't he, Curry, that it always is amusing. His expression in the field does not change. Whether he's taking a catch, whatever's happened, he dived over one. Okay.
Yeah, he's exactly. He's a cracking player and a cracking guy. Even our conversation in the championship games are very short and sweet, but he knows what he's doing. And personally, I like that as a captain when your bowler knows what he's trying to execute.
They tell me, or you tell me, he's a funny guy in the changing rooms. But
yeah, he's got
is it sort of
quite
dry
sense of humour, but he's a good man.
103 for 3 is the score. And Lewis Goldsworthy's going to bowl from the pavilion end, the end closest to us. 44 on his back, blonde haired. He's up to the wicket. He bowls, and back goes Zaib and plays this off the back foot, square of the wicket. On the offside, he'll get a single.
Pleased for Jimmy Neesham to pick up a wicket, because he's struggled to make a big impact in his first 3 games. So to get that early wicket of David Willey would have lifted him a little bit.
Absolutely, it was a very nice ball as well, looking from the stands.
Goldsworthy, left arm. Around the wicket, straight delivery. Bopara goes back, plays it down the ground. He'll get a single down to the aforementioned Curry.
As a high quality player, isn't he, by what he's done? So hopefully we can kind of see more of that tonight. With he's got 2 overs left, and obviously he's got the come with the bat as well.
Goldsworthy staying round the wicket, even though Zaib is left-handed, and he's got all of that. That's going to go for 6 over the long boundary. That's a massive hit. And Zaib's used the sweep to good effect so far. It's the second 6. The first one, it felt like he was targeting the shorter boundary, but that was the longer boundary. He got all of that. And Goldsworthy dispatched for 6. I was just going to ask you why he's carrying on going round the wicket, and I would guess that probably was to try and get Zaib to hit into the longer side.
That's kind of his playing against Zaib quite a bit. That is his area of that's where he targets.
Goldsworthy, back goes Zaib this time. That was a delivery just outside off stump. Zaib cuts, uses his feet nicely actually to make room for himself. He moves on to 27, 111 for 3. This is another very good partnership.
I think you said it earlier, didn't you, that Bopara looks like he's playing that anchor role, and the guys coming in are trying to kind of take more of the risks.
Goldsworthy it is again, and Bopara sweeps, and that's a challenge to the fielder out of deep backward square legs. Fabulously fielded though by the man out there. Is that Neesham out there?
Big Jim. He's a big unit.
He's a big man
well,
as well, isn't he? Yeah, very big.
Spoke to him on the, we spoke to him on the podcast this week, and there's some mighty biceps that he's got there.
He's a big man.
Goldsworthy it is once again. Back of a length this time, and it's pulled, and he finds the gap, but Kimber races round to his left-hand side to field.
It's a big boundary out there, isn't it? You don't quite realise from ground level, but looking from higher up, it's a big boundary.
2 added to the total. 115 for 3. Zaib on to 30, Bopara 37. This is sort of worrying partnership with Leicestershire developing. Goldsworthy 3 overs, none for 29 are his figures.
Yep, they've added 40, of which Safe Zaib has got 3/4. Yeah, looks like an All Black, really, Jimmy Neesham, rather than a cricketer.
He's a typical Kiwi as well. No, not fussy, just very calm.
Yeah, very loud as well, actually, in the dressing room.
Is he really?
He's very out there, yeah. Again, he seems a good man. Yeah, but very loud.
And at this time it is going to be Curry, so just got the 1 over from Josh Holt. Curry is going to come back on at the Bennett end. Lively murmur around the ground tonight. They're interested, the crowd. In goes Curry and bowls to Bopara. Slightly slower ball. He's taking a lot of the pace off it. He reckons that's the way to go, Scott Curry. It's a slightly short of a length delivery and wristily worked by Bopara down towards third man. Holiday's down there.
I think you'll see Scott mix this over up with his slow ball. He's got a very good slow ball, and I think, like I said last over, I think Zaib will target that leg side, which is quite short compared to his offside.
Curry stays around the wicket to save. Bowls outside off, just outside off stump, waited for it. Save, dabbed it out there, but only as far as Sol. Budinger at sort of backward point on the edge of the circle. Save a little bit cross with himself for not getting it wide of Budinger.
Lancashire,
6 for
Yorkshire
3.
abandoned without a ball being bowled. That's a shame up at Old Trafford, the Roses match.
Actually, possibly is. In goes Curry and bowls slightly short. Cut! Budinger gets his right hand to it, but that's all. It flicks the fingers and goes down to the wide third-man boundary for 4. Hit it hard, but it's one of those that if it hits the palm of the hand can sometimes stick. Unfortunately, Budinger just brushed his fingers. Saw the ball just alter in flight slightly, but nicely hit by Safe Zabe. Budinger probably be a bit disappointed. He didn't get a little bit more on that, but it would have been a miracle catch. 120 for 3, Safe Zabe onto 34. Round the wicket again goes Curry and bowls very wide. This time slower ball too. Safe Zabe has chopped it out to the backward point boundary for 4 this time. Fair enough trying the slower ball, but the direction was wrong and it was a little bit short, so it sat up nicely. And Zabe cracked it away. Looking dangerous. Safe Zabe, he's matching Bopara already. He's equalled him on 38. He's only taken 18 balls to get there.
Those 2 very well executed square cuts, in fairness.
Hanscom has dropped Budinger back to the boundary as a consequence. Curry is in, bowl short, top edge, should be caught by Rishi Patel, takes his second catch, comes off the top. Oh, did it?
Should have the helmet.
Oh,
by the looks of
helmet.
it.
No, it didn't. Sounded like an edge, but in fact it came off the helmet. Umpire Ashraf makes a slightly odd gesture because he went for the shot, so wouldn't that be a leg bye?
He said dead ball, didn't he? But
yeah, I don't quite know why he
completed
did
the
that.
run. Maybe it's a leg bye. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there
Just
we go.
signal it now.
124
Good knowledge that.
for well, having called it as a catch first, then but it did look as though it had come off the top.
It just came off the. It
of
looked like it
bat.
just came off the toe of the bat, didn't it? Going straight up.
He's got a big grin on his face, so he's not concussed. Happily. 124 for 3. There is 1 ball to go in this Curry over, so there'll be a slight hiatus now while the helmet and indeed Safe Zabe is examined. But this is becoming a slightly dangerous partnership from the Foxes' point of view, Lewis.
Yeah, like we say, we could do with just a quick wicket here, maybe 2, just to halt their progress into the last 4 or 5 overs, just to get them on the back foot so they can't accelerate as quick as they want to.
Just looking at the other scores around the grounds, some big games for Leicestershire tonight. If you're looking at how the table will look, Durham 98 for 4 against Notts up at Chester Street. The game against Birmingham and Worcestershire is going to be a delayed start. Worcestershire won the toss, but it hasn't got underway just yet. It's supposed to be a 6:30 start down there at Edgbaston, and then my Roses match off without a ball being
That's
bowled.
expensive, isn't it?
I think that's a good. That's quite a good result for us as well, isn't it?
Yorkshire get a
Looking
point,
at-
don't they? Which they
yeah.
might not have otherwise.
Yeah,
I'm not quite
they go
sure
to
on
11
that one.
points, I think.
Yeah.
Yep, they
Have they
do.
got a better one?
Yeah.
And I mean, Lancashire going to 15. So
Curry over the wicket to Ravi Bopara down the leg side, will be signalled wide. Tried to flick it on its way, taken by Ben Cox, didn't get anything on it. Umpire Ashraf, what jazz hands he does at the scorers over there. Paul Rogers not watching, perhaps. Gets the old jazz hands out. 2-6
or
for 3.
maybe that's his equivalent of the Billy Bowden crooked finger or the slow finger raise from Rudy Kurtzen.
Curry is in, bowls again to Bopara onto the legs, just turned by Bopara out through backward square out towards Ben Mike on the boundary, and takes 127 for 3 at the end of the over, so 12 from it, and that is now a 50 partnership between these two. 52 it's gone on to.
Listening to
6 to go, sorry.
No, it's all right. BBC Radio Leicester, one derby at least going ahead between Leicestershire and Northamptonshire. Richard Ray, Adam Whitty, the fabulously smelling Lewis Hill with us in the commentary box.
Doing my best.
Yeah.
I've been at Twin Lakes all day. Yeah, with Rosie. So I'm surprised it smelled that good.
You sound like you've
Must have something on it already.
Like you've been
before I put it
doused
on.
in something. Rahan Ahmed will bowl his final over, 1 for 24 his figures from the pavilion end. His first ball is tossed up, swept, and I think it's going to be 6 runs. It is over the head of deep mid wicket. Just felt like he got the pick up, and it's a short boundary over there. Hands on heads from some of the Leicestershire players. And that's a big hit from Bopara, who moves on to 45. And this partnership building in a worrying fashion.
Well, the ball is being examined, Hilly. I've got to ask you something. It's whether you got any runs playing club cricket with Harry Dearden last weekend.
Yeah, I'm playing with Harry Dearden at the minute. I didn't get any runs this weekend. I got some runs the weekend before. But yeah, I'm spending time with Harry Dearden again.
Is he good?
Yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah, he's a good man as well, isn't he? He's a good man.
Ahmed it is. This one slightly back of a length and it's cut out to Ben Mike, who sprints to gather it and spills the ball. It means they can come back for a second and it might go for a third. It was a throw from Mike that sort of went through the middle of the wicket, and so Josh Hull was thankfully following up. And so it's just 135 for 3, and Bopara one shot away from 50 now, and he drives, and it just bounces in front of Hanscom, which means he can't stop it, and the ball goes down the ground to Goldsworthy out to a wide long off position. Bopara on to 49, he gets 2 more. Is that for Lutterworth?
No, that's in. I'm playing near Harry's hometown actually at the minute. Yeah, for the last couple of weeks with obviously a bit of time off basically since the championship game, so it's been good to reminisce good times with him.
Ahmed bowls, and that's a straighter delivery, and Bopara gets his 50. You hear the Northamptonshire fans below us showing a lot of appreciation, and Bopara gets to 50. It's his second 50 of the T20 blast.
37 balls.
And he's playing, as you say, the anchor, but maybe just picked up a little bit as Zaib has charged towards 38. He's felt a little bit more comfortable opening up too. Ahmed will now bowl to the left-handed Zaib, and back he goes, and they followed him, Ahmed. As Lewis says, it's a good ball. Plays it out into the offside. Zaib, he was trying to make room for himself to play out there, but didn't want to play that straight, I'd imagine. 39 he moves on to, 139 for 3. The men out at the moment, but a deep mid-wicket, long off. Deep extra cover as it's pulled from Ahmed, a slightly shorter delivery, but he cloths it, does Bopara. He moves on to 51, so 1 ball left in the over. No, is that the over?
That's it.
Yeah,
it is. 1 for 37, Ahmed figures.
So 13 off it.
13 off the over.
Yeah, they're just looking to accelerate now, aren't they? And like as I said, it's key you get wickets this time of the game, because you can kind of halt progress really, really quickly.
They have a few wickets in hand at the moment, the Steelbacks. From here, with 5 overs to go,
190, 200.
You'd think they might have 200.
That's what they'd be looking. That's what they'd be looking at. If we were batting now, I think that's what we'd be targeting.
12 and over for the last 5. If you've got wickets in hand, isn't impossible. That's for sure. Bopara, a class act throughout his career. He waits because Leicestershire's still setting the field. Long gone mid-wicket and backward square, all out on the boundary. In goes Neesham, bowls short, pulled mightily out to wide mid-wicket, between mid-wicket and long on. Sounded like a rifle shot, that one. Bopara saw it early. It was banged in by Jimmy Neesham, but it sat up nicely, and he almost swung himself off his feet as he pulled that one out. No chance for mid-wicket to get across. Louis Kimber out there.
Wasn't he playing in the Legends game?
Was
the other day? Yeah, I'm sure he was.
He finished yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, well, a couple of days ago. I'm sure I've seen his name playing.
There were some decent names.
Yeah,
there
was.
Fairness. In goes Neesham, bowls again short, picked up beautifully for another 4. It wasn't too far from Ben Mike, and it was in the air. Hence Lewis's hopefully expressed catch suggestion, but it was a little bit too wide of Ben Mike, and Bopara is taking the Steelbacks towards a very challenging score here. 148 now for 3. Bopara accelerating nicely, 59 off 40. And Neesham again proving a little bit expensive.
This is a really key moment of the match, isn't it? There's 28 balls left here, and I know Fons keeps talking about key moments, and it is 100% right. And this is one of those moments now. This last 5 overs.
Neesham, very straight run, leans forward before getting into his stride, and bowls a full toss that is driven out towards extra cover. Goldsworthy makes sure he stops it clean. It was just low enough not to really be in any danger of being called for height. Bopara takes his single, moves on to 60, 149 for 3. all change in the outfield. Obviously the left-hander is going to be on strike, and Leicestershire will populate the leg side boundary. In those circumstances, the short, remember, leg side boundary. So 9 off the first 3 balls of the Curry over. He was a little bit expensive yesterday, but did pick up a couple of wickets, Scott Curry, but he did go for, I think it was 50 odd runs from his 4 overs. In goes Neesham, bowls, picked up really nicely. Wow, that's an extraordinary shot. How did Saif Zaid pick that one up off his toes, whip it down to long leg for 6? That was an extraordinary shot.
Yeah, that's a very good shot. Like we said, he targets the leg side. Somehow he got that over fine leg. It was like a clip. Wasn't really a ramp, was it? I don't think.
I can't believe he got under it. It's an extraordinary shot. If you just watch it again, it's full just outside leg stump.
Quick hands.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, quick hands.
Very, very quick hands and a brilliant shot. Zabe is playing a super knock here for the Steelbacks. 45 off 21. Neesham is in again. 2 in bowls, horribly wide. That would have been a wide, perhaps, in first-class cricket, let alone T20. Umpire Ashraf turns to the scorers and signals.
I think Zaid was trying to move away, wasn't it? I think just Neesham saw
He went to the offside again, didn't he, by the looks of it, but still pushed it a little bit too wide.
You were right, by the way. Bapara did play for the Legends.
Did he?
Yeah,
I'm sure I've seen his name.
at Northampton.
There you go.
Got 53.
Well, convenient, I suppose. But in goes Neesham. Bowls to Zabe. That's a better delivery. Full, almost Yorker length, just outside off stump. All Zabe can do is jam it into the offside, and in comes extra cover to field. Pete Hanscom. Yeah, Kerr Ching, I assume.
Yeah, I would have thought so as well. Looking at the players that have been playing in that as well, yeah.
Some serious names.
Yeah.
Against the West Indies side.
Somebody said Brett Lee was bowling at 64 kilometres per hour. Gentle stuff, but even so.
Well, this team that played in this game: Peterson, Mustard, Bell, Bapara, Samit Patel, Oais Shah.
Not bad. In goes Neesham, and bowls driven very full out to the cover boundary where
some of the other teams were the Australia team, and there's Christian, there's and the South Africa side.
18 from the over, the Jimmy Neesham over. He's now bowled 3 overs and he's got 1 for 38, and the Steelbacks have built a very, very promising score here. Leicestershire need to peg them back because it looks like it is going to be 200.
Yeah, right,
Did you get a call from the Legends?
Lutterworth, Legends.
A legend in Lutterworth, for sure, mate.
There's one going on now. India playing Australia. India just hit 255.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've kind of been looking at it. There's some of the names. I think Australia hit 270 the other day.
Getting huge crowds, or
I had no idea. No idea.
Is it going out on telly somewhere?
No idea.
Extraordinary.
Ben Mike will bowl the 17th over, 158.43. His first delivery is driven and stopped by Ben Mike. Excellent footballing skills. Left his left foot on the floor and it crashed into them.
Surprised about his best touch when we play in the winter. He just stands up front and makes a noose of himself normally.
He's got a touch like a trampoline.
Yeah, he has.
158 for 3. Bapara on 61, Zaib on 46. All the talk of the Legends cricket has somewhat distracted us from the fact that Leicestershire are in trouble here.
So, yeah. Ben's too busy looking in the mirror and taking selfies.
So he's running away from us now, from the pavilion end. He's in and bowls Barry Bapara, middle stump out of the ground. Bapara went for a big hoik, his head lifted up a little bit too high too early, and it went through the defences and crashes into his stump. So the 4th wicket falls, Bapara goes. It might be too little too late, but it is 158 for 4. Bapara, fabulous 61 from 44.
Needed that.
Yeah, it's a good wicket, that, isn't it? Yeah.
Straight. Just missed it, basically.
Was it a slow ball, or was it?
Might just have taken a bit of the pace off. He was swinging slightly across the line, but a lovely sight for any pace bowler. The middle stump out of the ground, and the off stump and leg stump still standing. But yeah, a really good effort from Bapara. 61. Can McManus maintain the momentum?
This is a good chance to see as well. Obviously, I know Fonz mentioned it as well in his interview that didn't quite execute the end of innings plans at Worcester, so it'd be interesting if we've learned anything and we can hit our skills and our death bowling a little bit better here. We'll stand us in a good stead and hopefully chase that 180. I think that's best case.
Take that now, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
180 from here.
Mike it is, his elbows jutting out as he charges in. He's up to the wicket and is driven by McManus out towards cover. The man from... That's Louis Kimber out there, who's at deep point, charges round to gather it. It's 139 for 7 off 17 overs yesterday, Worcestershire were. And then managed to get 185. Adam Hose played very well to his credit, but that was probably the period in which Leicestershire lost the game, as well as the preceding 6 overs at the start of the power play, where they were 29 for 5. Mike it is, though, with Northamptonshire 160 for 4, who runs in, bowls. There's a thick outside edge. It's a decent over from Mike, shy at the stumps, and they're going to run through for 2 as there's an overthrow. So it's a difficult one, that, because the throw was there to be attempted from Budinger, but nobody was backing up, sadly, so Curry has to field down on at the long on boundary. Mike won't be happy though. McManus onto 4. McManus sort of sealing the deal on Sunday in the last game for Northamptonshire, 25 off 16. They won with 3 balls to go.
I'm going to, talk about Lewis McManus, shall we? At the end of the over.
Yeah, interesting, yeah.
Again.
Mike it is, past the umpire, bowls a short delivery, and that's a good bouncer. You're always fearful, your eyes immediately dart to the umpire to see if he's going to signal something, but that was just a good bouncer. McManus didn't see that coming at all. 162 for 4. 1 ball left in the 17th.
It's been a good over so far, hasn't it, this one? I don't know, 4 or 5 off it, I guess.
Yeah, 4 off it so far.
Could just finish this over, it'd be a really, really positive over for us.
In he runs now, kicking up his heels, Ben Mike. He's up to the wicket, he bowls, he's hit on the pad. There's an appeal for leg before wicket, but that was going down the leg side. It was in desperation, not even hope, I would suggest, from Mike. End of the over, but a very good over. 1 wicket and 4 runs from it. McManus is 4 from 4, Zaid 46 from 22. And Northamptonshire 162 for 4 after 17 overs. That run rate at 9.5, where it's been pretty steady at around that mark throughout the innings.
What scores was the tie game at Northampton? Was it 208?
It was 208. Yes, spot on. 208 for 5 for Northamptonshire, 208 for 7 for Leicestershire.
Scott Curry back on at the Bennett end. He's going to bowl round the wicket to save Zabe. So big risk in this over. Can save Zabe pick him up? Is he going to bowl well outside off stump? In he goes and does bowl down the leg. Oh, it's a no ball on. Did he overstep?
I think so.
In which case, it's free hit time, folks. So just lost his, maybe overstepped slightly coming down the slope, Scott Curry. And Save Zabe will try and wipe this into the middle of next week somehow. Curry, again, no change in expression. Past umpire Ashraf bowls to Save Zabe, who does try and wipe it into the middle of the week and misses it. It's well bowled by Curry. So he's got away with it. Or he's at least pulled it back. Score remains 164 for 4. Yeah, I was surprised. I was, in fact, stunned to see Lewis McManus after the episode here involving Hassan Azad. Something pretty similar.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I did see that.
In goes Curry, bowls short, pulled out towards deep mid-wicket, but Rehan Ahmed can field on the bounce out there. And gets his throw in, just a single on that occasion, but yeah.
Yeah, very interesting, wasn't it? Very interesting kind of style of play, I suppose, as you can call it that.
Yeah. Lesson not learned, apparently. 165 for 4. McManus is going to take strike, looks around him, sees Ben Mike going wide from fine leg to sort of wide long leg, almost backward square. Back over the wicket comes Curry, bowls, short ball, but it's a slower ball, waits for it, McManus pulls it around the corner, but makes sure he keeps it down. Mike comes into field, throws on the bounce.
Good execution of his ball there from Scott. Like, looking at that big boundary, you want to try and get hit there, and if people hit you for 6 at that long boundary, it's probably 80 to 85 metres at a guess. Whereas the straight boundary is a lot shorter, so looks like he's bowling to his field to that ball.
Curry back round to the left-hander. That was very short bottom edge as he tried to almost hook it, and somehow it bounces down towards sort of slip. Ben Cox gets away to his left to make the stop, but almost Q-ended of the bat there as saves Zabe.
It looked very high as well.
I was going to say, had he actually left it, it might have been called a.
That's actually an interesting rule in cricket. If it's overhead high and you hit it, it doesn't get called, does it?
No, because you can reach it. I suppose you've shown you can reach it. That one is slightly short, pulled by McManus out towards mid-wicket. Louis Kimber, no, it's Pete Hanscom out there, beg your pardon, runs around from long gone to field and throws, and it is a couple to McManus. Yeah, it was a high one, so Curry probably quite pleased he got a little bit of bat on it. Zabe on 48 is watching as McManus on 7 faces Scott Curry's slower ball that is rather agriculturally pulled out towards, on front foot almost, out towards deep mid-wicket, 2 taken. So pretty good over really from Scott Curry. Wasn't really
How was that,
collared.
8 or 9 off that one?
71, so 9 off the over.
Yeah.
In the 18th, you'd probably take that.
Yeah, like I say, if we can keep them under 190 here, 19 off the last 2, I think we'd have done a good job, but have to wait and see.
Live T20 Blast Cricket, Leicestershire against Northamptonshire, BBC Radio Leicester, Adam Whitty, Richard Ray, Lewis Hill with you. Decent death bowling then. Are there rules to it?
No, as long as you have your plans and you're going to stick to your plans, I think it's the way forward really. And whoever's batting, how you're trying to restrict them.
Mike it is, he will bowl round the wicket. That's a good Yorker on leg stump. And it's clipped down the behind square, I should say, on the leg side. And there's a good throw that comes in from Goldsworthy. Cox nearly threatens to put the stumps down. But
that was well executed as well, wasn't it? That was in the block call.
And there's a 50 for Zabe Saeed. 27 runs, but a fantastic innings. He came in with Northamptonshire having built a platform, and he sped up from there. It's been a really attacking innings, aggressive. He swept brilliantly. 3 4s, 3 6s in it. Mike, right arm round the wicket, up to the wicket. He bowls. It's hit high, up in the air. This should be caught by Rishi Patel at fine leg. It's in the air, and he is caught. Down on his knees, Patel, and Zabe has to go for a wonderful 50. But that is a big moment for Leicestershire, because at the key moment, just when they're trying to keep things tight at the death, they've got rid of the dangerous batsman. That's Mike's second wicket, 2.2 overs, 2 for 15 is Mike, and Zabe has to go for 50.
Almost identical dismissal to that of Vasconcelos, in the way Rishi caught it as well, sort of almost down on one knee in front of him. Top-edged attempted pull.
Again, I think that's also good bowling as well, because they want to get hit to that long side, as I say, and the short boundaries are so short here at Grace Road. Like that back of a length and mixture pace is actually quite a good option on this wicket by the looks of it to get hit to that boundary.
So will you have, I guess I'm just thinking again, because my gut would be I'd want variation, full deliveries outside off stump that are very difficult to hit hard for 6, but is it more actually that you have death bowl plans to certain batsmen where they're going to struggle?
Yeah, and the ground regulations as well. If you had a pitch that was...
Comes to that in a second as Mike is in. Bowls a low full toss, which is driven down the ground by Ashton Agar.
I suppose on the dimension of the pitch as well, if you had a 60-metre boundary one side and you had 2 right-handers in, you wouldn't go straight. You'd go wide Yorkers, because people are good enough to hit that boundary. And if you had a really long straight boundary, you'd probably try and narrow Yorkers a bit more.
And so with McManus here, we've got the long boundary to his offside, so you might want to do that.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see what field they set here too.
And Ashton Agar's jogging down the pitch to speak to McManus. Ashton Agar, of course, former Australian international, won the World Cup with Australia T20 in 2020.
So here he's probably, he's got the fine leg in, so he probably doesn't ramp it. It's a bit, I would say he's probably going to go, or he's going to go slow ball here, I'd imagine.
Here is Mike, up to the wicket. He bowls a short bounce, a slower bouncer.
I was unsure where he was going to bowl it, that's why I didn't commit to where it was going to be.
174 for 5. The score, I'm just going to look at the scores in recent overs, because it's really slowed down.
Complete contrast to yesterday, isn't it? when they lost control in the last sort of 4 or 5 overs.
So you had 13, 14, 15, 16, 12, 12, 13, 18 off those overs, Mike, to bowl the 5th ball of the penultimate over. That's hit high, up in the air. Now this is a catching opportunity. Is it for Goldsworthy? Yes, brilliantly taken.
Brilliant.
Running backwards and having to watch the ball swirl in the sky. Takes it at cover. Attempted slog that from McManus, but he didn't get hold of it. And Goldsworthy did fabulously to watch it and take it into his chest. So the 6th wicket falls for Leicestershire, and this is a great end to the over. 3rd wicket for Ben Mike as well.
Do you know what I really like about that field then? Because the square leg comes up, people think it's quite easy to get it to square leg, but realistically it's quite a hard shot. And you've seen the ball before, he tried to go to square leg, and obviously he couldn't do it, so he's had to pick another option. So I actually really like that field. Because the ramp's a pretty easy shot in modern day cricket now, to be honest with you. A lot of people play it, but if you hit a good Yorker, it's easier to ramp it than get it over square leg. So I like that field.
So 174 for 6. Miller, the new man, sort of into the tail now. So young man Miller, academy graduate. Ben Mike, 3 wickets to his name. He bowls his final delivery, and it's a good delivery as well, Yorker, that's played down the ground. So that is the end of the over. 5 off it, Richard. 4 off it.
I think 4. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So Miller 1, Agar 1. And again, so just to give you the runs, 13 to 16 overs. There were 24, 35, 53 in those 4 overs, and then in the last 4 overs there have been just 17.
Yeah, brilliant. But it's really important now that we finished this off really well this last over. As I say, yesterday maybe we didn't execute as well as we could have, but tonight so far we've had clear plans, and we've nailed our skills.
In the pantheon of man does on-air maths, I thought that was actually quite all right there, Richard.
Well done.
We've got a bad record, haven't we, the pair of us?
Josh Hull is going to come back to bowl that final over. So Ben Mike, 3 for 17 from his. He must be a frustrating cricketer to captain, Hilly, because he's so talented. You never quite know though what you're going to get from Ben, and he's in and out a little bit, but on his day he's brilliant, and he's been pretty good tonight. Hull is in, bowls pulled, thick bottom edge, inside edge by Miller. It's running very slowly down to Goldsworthy, but Goldsworthy scampers in, gets his throw away, and keeps it 2-1. 176. Miller on to 2 brings the Aussie Agar on 2 strike. He's a Victorian, isn't he? Is Mel from Melbourne?
Is he? He might be WA. Yeah.
Western Australia.
Oh, Western.
I think his brother plays for
I thought he was
South Australia. He might be originally. I don't know.
Well, I know.
Oh no, he is.
We have listeners in Melbourne, so no doubt they'll be in touch to tell us.
Yeah, born in Victoria.
Thank you. In goes Hull, and bowls very wide outside off stump, hit up into the air by Agar. He's got just enough on it to fall between long off running around to his right, Peter Hanscom, and extra cover running back, can't get there, Rishi Patel, so Agar picks up a slightly fortuitous couple.
I was just about to say as well, before that over started, I fully expected Josh to, the right-hander, to kind of mix his pace and be kind of halfway down the wicket to get hit here, and to Agar hopefully to mix his pace as well to keep it wide, because he's going to target that kind of long on to square leg slash cow corner. So I expect him to keep mixing his pace and going wide.
So same again this one, slightly slower, wider.
Was that a slower one? I think he'll go quick and as full as he can potentially.
Hull is in, and bowls goes for the Yorker, dugout driven by Agar out towards Peter Hanscom, comes in quickly. Agar thinks about a second, is quickly disabused of the notion by
great
Miller.
Skills again there, wasn't it? Great execution from the bowlers.
Yeah, wasn't quite at his best yesterday, Josh Hull, but he's bowling really well tonight. Ditto Ben Mike.
Yeah.
Frankly.
Yeah.
1 for 28 from Hull. 3 balls to go, 179. So they've done well to keep it sort of at this sort of level, the Foxes. Momentum's with them at the moment. Bowl slightly short, clubbed out towards mid, off by Miller. Bounces just short of Scott Curry on the edge of the circle.
It's
Curry
interesting, he's still trying to go straight with that, isn't it? Because of the field setting, you knew he was going to go kind of back of a length. He's still trying to go straight. I'd actually be trying to just work with the pace and kind of just taking the boundary on, really, because it's a hard shot to flat back straight against good pace with Josh.
Turns. Agar left-handed, of course, waits, back raised, equally tall young man. Hull is in, bowls to him, he swings, gets a thick inside edge, he's going to go down towards deep backward square. Neesham runs across to his left to field, but then throws his head into the air in annoyance there because his throw was slightly wide, and as a consequence, Agar able to get back. For 2, he moves on to 6, but we're seeing the advantage of having picked up those couple of wickets for Ben Mike. You know,
yeah,
Zabe in now might be getting these away to the boundary, or has a better chance of getting them away to the boundary. Not so easy for Agar and Miller, who are, with respect to them, sort of useful tail enders rather than genuine all-rounders, I think.
I think you'll see. Interesting to see what he does with his field here.
One ball to go. What's he going to bowl, Hilly?
He's going to go wide. I think he's going to go slow.
Wide,
slow ball wide, yeah. Okay. Slow ball wide.
You know in advance, folks. In goes.
Oh, no.
In goes Agar. In goes Hull, and he spears a quick delivery down the leg side full, which will be.
I got the length right full, but yeah.
This time outside.
It's about the end. The run was about to end. To be fair,
it's 10 in a row over 2 games.
Flawless so far. Absolutely flawless. That's the first time that you haven't quite called it right. So this time he's going to go that sort of length again, that sort of pace again, but. Outside off stump?
Yeah, I think so. I think he.
Yorker length outside.
I think so. I think that's probably what he's aiming for there.
In he comes. Past umpire Ashraf and bowls, and it is a quick delivery outside off stump, and he's run out by Ben. Well, he isn't run out. Gus Miller is run out. He missed the attempted scoop there. It would have been a heck of one to scoop Agar. He was called through by Miller. Not much to lose. Cox underarmed the ball at the stumps, hit them low, and ran out Miller. So the Steelbacks finish. Well, if you'd probably offered them this at the start, they might have taken it, 183, but with 4 overs to go, I suspect they'd have been looking for 200. So
absolutely, like I say, I think those last 5 overs we've bowled fantastically well, and it's a comparison to yesterday. Really, it's good that they've learned their lessons and they've executed their skills really well, and they've got a little bit of momentum going into our innings.
Yeah, it is. You are absolutely right, Lewis. It's a very different situation to yesterday. 158 for 3 at the end of the 16th over, and then they didn't score a boundary from there on in, Jack. 4-9-4, and then how many came off the final over in the end, Richard? 8. So it was, in the end, that was a very strong finish for them. At 158 for 3 at the end of the 16th, they would have snapped your hand off for 183. So Leicestershire need 184 to win, and credit to Ben Mike there, who finishes with figures of 3 for 17.
So with that in mind then, gentlemen, the target yesterday, bearing in mind, was 185. Are we seeing this as a good score to be able to go and chase? Is it going to be a difficult one, or about par? Where are we seeing that score of 183?
I think it's about par. But I think if Leicestershire bat as they can, and they bat very deep, remember, everybody can basically bat in this side, it's a score they'll be reasonably confident of getting. I would say at the moment it's something like 60-40 in the Foxes' favour, but that's just a feeling as much as anything.
I thought that par was about 180, 185. We said that earlier, didn't we? So they're on par, and I think could be
yeah, it had 2 innings there, Jack. I thought, really, it felt like, because when Zaib and Bapara were going well, I'd say they were going at a sort of above rate, Leicester to peg back over the probably in the score. Given that, though, I think that Leicester got the momentum back. Sort of rocks forward and back before he starts his run up to the wicket now. He bowls. Budinger moves across and bowls down the leg side, third wide of the over. And even though Budinger had moved across to the offside, moved right across his stumps, it's still down the leg side. So I'll have to bowl that one again. The other scores in the other T20 matches. Durham 160 for 6 off their 20 overs, Notts 6 for no loss in reply. After 1.3 overs, Sanderson is in. Budinger goes to cut and finds the gap. I think he'll get 4 runs for that. Nicely played, nicely placed, just forward of square. Bit of short back of a length from Sanderson, and he came forward, cut it through the gap for 4 runs. Normally you see those cuts go a little bit square, but he placed that well. Budinger off the mark.
Lovely shot. He plays through that offside so nicely. I just wish he just trusted himself more through the offside, because he is such a stylish player and got so much talent, and that's a lovely start.
Worcestershire 82 for 3. That's a 16 over game that at Edgbaston. They had a rain delay. Lancashire against Yorkshire abandoned without a ball being bowled in the North group. Sanderson charges in now. Budinger hits him high over the top. That's a great shot. One bounce 4 down the ground. Ahmed takes his glove off and tries to stop it, but that's a glorious shot. Charged down the track, hit it on the half volley. Beautiful arc of the blade down the ground for 4 runs.
There's that sort of left-hander's grace, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a lovely shot. I just used the pace of the ball there and just timed it, hasn't he? Lovely 2 shots to kind of get going.
Budinger all in green. Waits. The left-hander as Sanderson runs in. He pulls this short delivery outside off stump, and he plays slightly across the line, but gets enough on it to deep square leg. And that's the end of the first over. We had 9 balls in that first over, didn't we? 6 of them legal, 13 for no loss. And that's a handy old start. Those 2 boundaries have got them off to a rollicking old start. The Foxes going at 13 and over. They need to go at 9 and over if they are to chase down 184. So they need what, 171 to win off 114 balls.
Interestingly, they're going to open with Agar. If the overseas can earn his money, picking up a couple of early wickets.
He's played 5 tests, Agar. Do you know when the last one was?
About 5 years.
Start of last year.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Start of last year?
Yeah, against South Africa.
He goes over the wicket and bowls to Sol Budinger on Budinger's legs. He just turns the back face on it, pushes it out towards mid-on, but Agar gets across quickly and makes the stop, makes sure that there isn't a quick single to be taken. Then he waves at his backward square and says, come up to the edge of the circle, and sends his mid-on Willie back to long on, suggesting he's going to give it a bit more air, perhaps. Bowls, and it's hit straight out over long off. Did that go all the way? It was close. Yes, it did. It just landed over the ropes, and a really nice hit. Didn't quite have the full swing of the bat, but he sort of wristily got underneath it and clipped it very nicely out to long off for 6. So Budinger, perhaps this is going to be another of his days. 19 without loss. Budinger on 15. Agar goes in, and that is clearing long on by a long way and over the seats in front of the Turner Indoor Centre towards the groundsman's hut. Well, used his feet nicely, made it into a length ball and really clobbered it. Moves on to 21. Agar has his hands in his pockets, looking in dismay back towards the groundsman's hut. That was a big hit.
Big shots, and all these shots he's played in his first 6 balls have all been proper cricket shots. I mean, beautiful shots.
Agar is in again too, but just waits for it. Little delicate late cut, and he's got that one through as well. It will be cut off by Sanderson. Puts in the slide as the dew is perhaps getting up a little bit on the outfield here, but Budinger picks up a couple, and the first Leicestershire chant of the innings is already underway, because the Foxes, after just 10 legitimate deliveries, are 27 without loss.
It's one of my favourites of the lot, that of Budinger's, because it's so easy to get a rush of blood to the head, isn't it? But just to play that, wait for it, play it delicately.
Agar's going to come round the wicket to the left-hander, bowls onto the legs, and it is going to be signalled wide. Nice take, in fairness, by McManus, but it was wide. Well, at least it was down the leg side, and that means wide in this form of the game.
It's quite a way wide, actually.
Agar is in and bowls. Slower delivery outside off stump. Tries to sort of square drive it, but took the pace right off the ball there. And the first, arguably slightly ugly shot that Budinger has played, and appropriately doesn't get any bat on it. 28 without loss. 1 ball to go in the second over. Agar refastens a shoelace, just trying to take a little bit of the momentum perhaps out of the Leicestershire innings. In he goes and bowls. Slower, cut by Budinger, out to cover, but straight to cover, so a better end to the over from Agar's point of view, but the damage was all done early as far as the Foxes were concerned, and after 2 overs they're sitting very pretty on 28 without loss.
Great start there by Sol, and just reiterate on that his offside game, is so good. It looks like he's kind of trusted that more tonight, which is great to see, and the shots he's played have been high class.
It's a shame. If he gets going, he's such a fantastic player. I always remember that, watching that innings at Kibworth when he got 100 against Essex.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, he won the game by himself, really, with a fantastic knock.
Yeah, he's a very stylish player. Really gets going.
And he got a 50 on the opening day against Yorkshire, but we haven't really seen much of him since. Missed a few games with injury, but he's only got 68 in 7 innings since that opening day 50. Could this be the one? Patel it is who will face the left-arm David Willey, and his first delivery is a very good one, straight and with a bit of bounce as Patel defends. He's 1 from 3. Budinger at the other end, 23 from 9 deliveries.
Fast start just buys everybody a time, doesn't it? You know, your next man can
it does. When you, like we said, momentum, we've obviously carried it in for the first 2 overs of this innings, and the guys are playing, again, proper cricket shots.
Willie it is, left arm over the wicket, bowling to the right-handed Rishi Patel, who holds his bat high as Willie is in. He bowls and Patel goes high up in the air. It's going to be safe, I think, unless there's going to be an amazing catch. Oh, it is! Fantastic catch! Racing behind him, running over the pitches, and it went over his shoulder. That is a fantastic catch from Ashton Agar, I think, isn't it? Who has taken that, running away from him, and that's a superb catch. And after being heaved for 15 off his first over, he's made a big impact in that game. Rishi Patel going for the uppercut, but he has been dismissed. 28 for 1. Patel goes for 1.
I'll make Agar feel a bit better about that first over. I would imagine he's made a serious contribution there. Great catch.
That's a good catch, isn't it, that? Great catch. You just thought just getting away from him, and he's got the last few strides, it got him in a position to catch it.
I think he's about 6'3" or 6'4", isn't he? Agar may even be taller, and he needed every inch of that height. Reach out and take it. Khan Ahmed comes to the crease to replace Rishi Patel.
I like Ahmed at 3. A flourish, very wristy player. I'm just looking over to that big patch of grey in the sky. I've been looking at the cloud radar on my computer. There's a small band coming across us that hopefully will allow us to finish the game. We may have a bit of a delay, who knows. Willie is in. Ahmed pulls round the corner. He will get a single behind square on the leg side for the England all-rounder, and he's off the mark. Willie batted so well in the reverse fixture, 71 from 48 balls.
Tell us about Rehan a bit, Lewis. Is he in the dressing room? Is he sort of ebullient, or is he quiet? Or
he's quiet. He's a confident lad, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's got that star quality, hasn't he? Anything he does, yeah. He's a lovely. He
seems a smashing.
He's a smashing lad, and he's got good people behind him that are keeping him level as well.
Willie it is, 23 on his back, blonde-haired, past the umpire, he bowls, a straight delivery, and Budinger wasn't really expecting that. I wonder if that just moves back into him a little bit, or...
Bit of swing away, potentially. Don't know, he was working a little bit square, wasn't he?
Squared up slightly was Budinger, 23 off 10. He's the former Notts man. That's the run rate at 10.9 as it stands. They're still going well above it.
Does he get teased about his cars, Sol, at all?
Pardon?
Does he get teased about his cars?
No, he doesn't. He's got a very nice car at the minute, to be fair.
Willie it is. Past the umpire, bowls, Budinger drives, and it's that straight at cover. That's a shame. It was the right shot, but just found the fielders. There's nobody out in front of square on the offside. The 2 men out in the power play. There's 1 ball left in the 3rd over. There's a deep backward square leg and a deep backward point. Oh, it's more of a wide 3rd man, perhaps, actually, who is now trundling in. So
I think he's going to...
wicket.
Willie's going to try and get hit out to these 2 guys. You would have thought so.
And they're moving the man out, so you wonder where he beat straight and full. In comes Willie. Budinger tries to play that shot. Oh, he's dropped. Oh, it was on the bounce that it came to short fine leg. He tried to turn it round behind square, and I don't know whether it hit the glove or a part of the bat, but it landed just in front of the fielder there, and there was no runs. So 29 for 1. Is there just 1 run off that over, Richard? In the end, I think there was, yes, and a wicket too. So Northamptonshire strike back. 29 for 1 is the score. Leicestershire require 155 to win, to chase down 184 to win.
Like Richard said the over before, if you have a good over, you can actually afford an over of 1 in the power play, because you've kind of made up for that in the, I think it was the 2nd over that went for 15, and the 1st over went for 13 as well, so you can actually afford that.
Yeah.
That kind of over if you've gone hard at the other 2.
Bought yourself a little breathing space. Ben Sanderson is coming back, this time from the Bennett end, comes in and bowls to Rahan, who just blocks the delivery off stump. It is, as Adam said, getting very dark away to the south-west. So Duckworth Lewis, unlikely to be a factor. I think if there is any rain, I don't think he'll hang around too long. But worth keeping half an eye on the Duckworth Lewis. And at the moment, Leicestershire pretty much level, just ahead in those terms. Remember, need 5 overs to constitute a game. Going to get those anyway. In goes Sanderson and bowls, again slightly short of a length, minimal foot movement, but Rahan doesn't really move his feet too much. He relies on his wonderful sort of hand-eye coordination, and he just ends up rather shoveling that one back down the pitch towards Sanderson. He's just taking time, or needing time, to come to terms with the pace of the pitch, or lack thereof.
There's still, even in T20, it's obviously a short time, but you still get a little bit of, you still get a couple of balls where you can see what's going on.
Sanderson is in, bowls, Ahmed goes back, turns it neatly away down towards backward square, wants a second, and he will get one, because it hasn't been picked up cleanly by the man running in from deep backward square on the boundary, and as a consequence it is a comfortable 2 in the end. Breitska lost his footing there. Is that how you pronounce it, Illy? Breitska?
I'm glad you haven't asked me, basically. I don't know what I was going to say it.
With all these South Africans around.
How was your Afrikaans?
Yeah, very good.
You played in South Africa at all?
No.
You haven't?
No.
Sanderson is in, bowls. Very, very high bounce, and will be signal no ball on height. Bowl it again, but it is not a free hit.
2 runs, isn't it, as well? And
2 runs for a no ball, isn't it?
which is quite
It is.
amazing, really.
It is.
I think we're the only. I might be wrong in saying this, but I think the only first-class cricket in the world that has 2 for a no ball. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong there, but.
Sanderson is in, bowls it again. Rahan Ahmed goes dancing down the pitch, gets an inside edge that misses leg stump by a whisker, and runs down to fine leg for 4. So that perhaps is going to be his day, and Sanderson keeps him evils, as they say.
Might have had a few words there as well, I reckon, by the looks of it.
Oh, well, Sanderson, didn't he? Just dragged his length back as he saw Ahmed coming. Ahmed's got the boundary out of it.
You might have told him he'd been slightly fortunate. Or words to that effect.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Ahmed on to 7, waits with bat raised as Sanderson is in, bowls to him again, fuller delivery. I think he held it back slightly, and looking to drive again with minimal foot movement. I think sort of bottom edge, sort of inside edge part of the bat from Ahmed, and it runs rather apologetically out towards Willie at mid-off.
Again, we're still going at 9 over here, aren't we? With the, when we think of a batting side, the final over to 2 overs of the power play are the really important ones.
Sanderson is in, bowls. Looked to be rolling his fingers across the seam a little bit there. Tempted to turn it, Ahmed into the leg side. didn't get anything on it, came off the pad. Sanderson ran across the short mid-wicket to field, but Ahmed and Budinger completed the run for a leg bye. Hilly has to leave us. Thank you very much for coming.
No problem, anytime. I might see you
on
Sunday as well, potentially as well.
That'd be fantastic if so, but
There
really
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
you coming down. Or
Yes,
coming
thank
up,
you
I
very
should
much
say.
indeed. 38 for 1 is the score as Leicestershire play Northamptonshire in the T20 Blast. Leicestershire aiming to chase down 184 to win this game. So they require, with 16 overs to go, they require 146 to win. David Willey will bowl his second over from the pavilion end, and it's a straight delivery. Ahmed struggled a tiny bit in this innings, and he plays this across the line, slightly defensively, to mid-wicket, and there is no run. Yeah, there's a big sheet that I've been slightly worried about, but I can see the sun coming through, so it's a small band of rain. It looks like it is, as Richard says, just going to sort of go behind the ground as we see it, over to the southwest, so it should be okay. It's been cloudy all evening. A high white cloud at the moment above us as Willey charges in. He bowls, driven by Ahmed. It's going to be a dot ball as well. That means he's 7 from 9. If you bear in mind he's got a streaky 4, he really has struggled. Pleasant murmur in the crowd at Grace Road. A few people walking around, going to get a drink, going to help themselves to a burger or a pizza. They've got the new pizza pods over to the left-hand side. Pub garden staple. Willey runs away from us now. He's in, and Ahmed flashes again at that outside off stump. Leicestershire have time and space to sort of play with here because of the way that the innings has gone. Look at where Leicester, they're pretty much on par with where Northamptonshire were as well. At the end of the 5th over, they were 44 for 2, but Ahmed struggling a little bit at the moment in the Leicestershire gloom. Big game this. Leicestershire got 3 games remaining. The suggestion is probably need to win all 3 to guarantee a place in the last 4. Willey in to Ahmed, who goes for a big heave, and he's got that away this time, but he hasn't got it to the boundary over the top of the infield, and he just gets 1 to Budinger. The problem is, I guess, that if you play an over like that, you then put Budinger under a bit of pressure for the final 2 deliveries, so it'll be interesting to see how he plays this left-handed. If you do throw your arms at it to the power play, chances are you will, if you get anything on it, you're going to have to be unlucky to get out, and Ahmed didn't get a lot of it. Thick outside edge. 39 for 1 the score, 145 to win.
Willey's only conceded 2 runs from 10 balls.
Wow, goodness me, yes, 1.4 overs, 1 for 2. Willey it is. Curtained hair. Budinger tries to make room for himself, and the ball goes over the top of the stumps. As Richard says, using the slower ball mightily well. What looked like a brilliant pub. I mean, just a reminder, Leicestershire were they after
28 for no, not for 2.
Now 39 for 1, and we're 1 ball off the end of the 5th over.
So 11 off 3 overs in the power play potentially. 1 ball to go there.
Budinger waiting. What can he do? Can he finish with a flourish? Willey is in. Budinger comes down the pitch, and Willey bowls a brilliant delivery, holds back the length a bit, and that is the problem, I think. Budinger felt forced to go for the big shots. You can tell he's frustrated out there. Is the opener. He's 23 not out of 14 deliveries. Ahmed 8 off 12, and Leicestershire 13 for 1 at the end of the 5th over. They need 145 to win from... My maths has gone terribly wrong. 15 overs there. There you go. So the run rate already has dropped to 7.8. That just shows you how slowly they have gone. Just 1 run off that over, and the required rate up to 9.7.
Yeah, nothing to be too concerned about yet. But the fact that Willey's been able to bowl 2 overs for just 2 runs, I think that is a little bit of a concern. Rafi Weatherall, young medium fast bowler, comes in from the Bennett end, bowls a huge beamer, and Rehan Ahmed flings himself to the ground, and well, there's 1 or 2 slightly amused boos around the ground, but that'll be a very firm warning from umpire Ashraf. Do that again, young man, you won't be bowling anymore. Safe to say he got that one wrong. So free hit for Rehan, but it was happily it didn't sort of come through very fast because it was absolutely head high. Weatherall is in and bowls, and it's clubbed by Ahmed only as far as mid-on, who staggers actually as he takes the ball. I think it's Freddie Heldrick there, and as a consequence it's a what could have been a slightly risky one is in fact a pretty comfortable one. 42 for one, so kind of got away with it there to a certain extent, Weatherall, but he has conceded 3 runs from the delivery essentially.
Had a mixed time of it, didn't it? Wantage Road, he got 4 wickets in the end, but the first 2 wickets were very expensive.
In he comes to bowl to Budinger, who's got hold of that one, picks it up and lofts it high over mid-wicket into the trees and into the nets. Well, I would imagine actually hit the wall in front of the nets. It's a road between the stand and the nets over there at mid-wicket, but it was absolutely perfect for Budinger. Short boundary there, and he tucked in gratefully.
That's just calmed things down a bit. That was a monster hit, by the way, absolutely huge. Picked it up, and it was a sort of golf shot, really. Great drive over towards Cow Corner. But there was just a sense it was slowing down and stuttering and spluttering, but that has picked the pace up once more, then rate up to 9.
As you say, he was expensive, albeit that he did manage to pick up a few wickets at Wantage Road. In goes Weatherall, bowls and hits Budinger, it would appear, in their sort of stomach chest area. It was a slightly slower ball bouncer and it sat up. Budinger was deceived. He was looking to turn it into the leg side, and I think it beat everything and went into the body. Let's have a look. See? Yeah, it did. Well, it's sort of around about the solar plexus, really, so it might just have winded him slightly. He's all right anyway. Weatherall is charging down the slope, bowls to him, and that's disappearing as well, and that may well go into the nets. It went over the top of the trees behind the Uptonsteel popular stand over there on the west side of the ground, and I suspect that one is definitely in the nets. Umpire Ashraf looks over there, but it might take a while to be retrieved. The net area is behind a sort of concrete wall, and it is locked up over there. There's a few people peering around the advertising hoardings at the back of the stand, seeing if they can find the ball, but Weatherall put it right where Budinger wanted it, and Budinger obliged by smashing it for another 6 in the over. Out comes some replacement balls. Umpire Pollard is going to choose one. Tom Scriven is the supplier. He's got the nuclear codes briefcase.
And it really does look like that, doesn't it? It does look like the nuclear
sort of
codes briefcase.
Black with a sort of slightly sinister sort of metallic surround to it, and yeah. Looks like it belongs in a Bond film. 54 for one. Wow, what an extraordinary contrast this power play has provided. Absolutely bizarre. 2 overs in which only 1 run has come.
Yeah, 13, 15, 1, 9, 1.
And now,
is it 15 so far?
It's 54 for 1, so 15 so far with 2 balls to go. 2 legitimate deliveries still required of Rafi Weatherall, who we might not see again, I suspect, after this over.
Well, he went for 30 off his first 2 overs at Wantage Road, and then got 3 for 20 off his last 2, so...
What can he do this time? Down the slope he runs. Bowls to Budinger. That's a good full delivery outside off stump. Budinger had backed away, looking to drive it away through the offside. Didn't get anything on it. Didn't miss off stump by too much. And there was a little bit of swing back in. So good comeback from Weatherall, but going to have to produce something similar this ball as well. And the damage really has already been done.
Yeah, 35 off 18 now for Budinger. He's been fantastic.
Really giving his young bowler advice between every delivery. Weatherall is in. Budinger goes back, pulls it over deep backward square stroke, wide long leg, and into the crowd for another 6. Stepped right across, so 3 6s in the over. 21 runs from it. Sol Budinger has got Leicestershire off to a flyer.
Yeah, the run rate up to 10. 60 for 1 off the end of the power play. That innings has really been sensational. And boundary onto 41 from 19 deliveries. Leicestershire require 124 to win off 14 overs.
Strong favourites from here, you would think.
And Ahmed, 9 of 14. He's still been a little bit quiet so far, but this is very much game on. But as you say, a completely bizarre power play that, but that innings, that over has really livened things up for the Foxes. Ashton Agar will continue from, well, no, he won't continue. He will bowl for the first time from the pavilion end. His first over went for 15, and he's bowling to the right-handed Rahan Ahmed. Ashton Agar is going to go left arm round the wicket, and there's a big appeal for leg before wicket that was definitely going down the leg side from Agar. Always remember him for that 98 against England in the Ashes in 2013, coming in at number 11. Here comes Patel. Oh, sorry, Patel. Ahmed, he's got a hold of that. Oh, no, he hasn't. He's hit it straight down, long on stones. I thought he got enough of that, but it's a longer boundary down the ground, and Ahmed has been caught by Zaib at long on, and there's the second wicket to fall. Ahmed never looked comfortable at all out there, and I thought he'd finally timed one, but he's got to go for 9 of 16 deliveries, and Northamptonshire will see the door opening ajar slightly as Peter Hanscom comes to the wicket.
Yeah, clothed it slightly. It didn't sound right off the bat, did it? And it was in the end a fairly comfortable catch for Zaib straight to him. Albeit he was only a foot or so standing inside that long on boundary, caught it about waist high. Hanscom, who made a duck yesterday, having come back into the side, hurt his shoulder in the county championship match, rolling into an advertising hoarding. That was down at Hove. He did bat after doing, but then he made a duck in the second innings. He was clearly suffering a little bit and has had to have some time off, but is now fully recovered.
We absolutely crunched a leg drive, didn't it, to mid-wicket. First ball. Agar then, bald-headed, bowls to his fellow Australian Peter Hanscom. Moves away from us now, tosses it up, and it's driven by Hanscom rather pleasantly down the ground. He'll get off the mark, 1 from 1, 61 for 2. Hanscom, 213 runs in 9 innings, got 75 against Derbyshire. And he nearly saw the Foxes home, didn't he? Got out at a vital time against Northants at Wantage Road. Budinger now on strike, 41 not out. In comes Agar, and he plays solidly to... As Agar throws at the stumps, he would have been gone. Miles out. Silly single called by Budinger, who just dabbed it into the leg side. And Agar was quickly onto it and tried to throw the stumps down. He would have been out. That would have been a foolish decision from Budinger, but he's got away with it. 42 from 20 now. Leicestershire need 122 to win.
Yards out. Yards out.
Agar to Hanscom, who plays this into the leg side. They decide against the single now, so that was straight to mid-wicket. 2 of the first 4 balls. It has been feast or famine for Leicestershire in this innings. It's mid-wicket is going to come into the offside to Hanscom, meaning that they've got no men on the infield in front of square on the leg side. The cheer goes up as Agar is in. Hanscom drives down the ground again very pleasantly, moving his left leg out the way, but still showing the full face of the bat, the Makers logo. So end of the over, just 3 off it? Yes, so that's 63 for 1. Leicestershire, they're going at 9 and over, just below the required rate, but they are 121 runs away from their target of 184 to win this game. What is still a gloomy and grey night at Grace Road. We hope you're keeping you company wherever you are.
Just wondering, this pitch might just suit Ravi Bopara's lack of pace. We'll see. Well, nicely at... He's always kind of effective, isn't he, Ravi Bopara? He'll sort of shuffle in and... Well, fairly slowly, but nip it around a little bit, or at least try to. He's going to come in from the Bennett end. No more than 10 paces. Bowls a little off-cutter to Peter Hanscom, who goes back and whips it out towards deep backward square, takes 1. It's the slowest delivery I think even Bopara's ever bowled. He just wandered into the crease there, didn't he? And almost an off spinner, really.
So difficult to get away, isn't it? And players' eyes light up. It'd be so easy. That just shows the quality of Handscomb. It'd be so easy for his eyes to just completely light up there.
Barra in, bowls very short outside off stump, and all Budinger can do is somehow, because it doesn't get up very much, club it straight back down the wicket to Bopara, who stops it in his follow through, not cleanly, examines his right hand a little ruefully.
Budinger's key to this innings, isn't he? Goodness me.
Can he get a second half century in the competition this season? Bopara in to him outside off stump. He's hit it up into the air. Can long on get there? Oh, I thought he had for a minute there. He went with it for it. One-handed, dived across to his right. Did get his right hand to the ball, but as he did so, it just popped out down there. Is it not David Willey? David Willey's that long off in the distance. Can't quite see who it is. A long way out there. Got his hand to it, but couldn't quite.
It's a brilliant effort. He sort of got to it on the bounce, didn't he? But it was a brilliant effort to stop it. So often you see it when they get to it on the bounce, the ball just sort of bounces over or through them.
Bopara's got problems with his hand here. That one that Budinger clubbed back to him hurt him, and he's struggling a little bit now, and he's going to have to get a visit from the Northamptonshire.
He's not popping that back in himself, is he? He hasn't just...
Physio. Seems okay now.
Please just tell me he hasn't popped that back in himself.
Well, he'd have done it before, wouldn't he? If
Yeah,
it was
presumably.
Dislocated previously. Anyway, he's into Budinger now, and bowls short outside off stump, very slow, pulled around the corner. It's stopped on the boundary. Relay work out there by the two Northamptonshire fielders means that it is just a single to Sol Budinger. He moves on to 45, capable of shots of such sort of grace and style, Budinger, but also very much capable of the occasional agricultural looking effort, and that was one of those. Just prefers a little bit of pace on the ball. Bopara wanders in, bowls to Handscomb. It just about gets there in the end. Handscomb works it out towards mid-wicket, who stumbles as he runs in from long on in the act of fielding, and as a consequence, Handscomb can make one into 2. I thought he was limping a bit there, Handscomb, but he seems he's okay. I think he's just readjusting some of his protection. 69 for 2, 1 ball to go in the over. 6 runs from the first 5 balls. That's okay as far as Leicestershire are concerned. As Bopara is in, bowls a loopy, slow delivery to Handscomb. It reaches him on the full, but very low, and he just drives it out to mid-on. It was a very curious over from Ravi Bopara. And in the end, 7 runs from it. Extraordinary over.
I think this is sort of sensible way to play. I mean, it's extraordinary. It's almost like club level stuff, isn't it? Dibbly dobblers.
It really was.
But it's so hard to get away, and what you're doing is you're tempting batsmen into making a fool of themselves. So unfortunately, the Budinger nor Handscomb fell for the trap. 70 for 2, then 114 to win for Leicestershire with 12 overs to go. Ashton Agar is back, 1 for 18 from his 2 overs. He will bowl from the pavilion end. Tall man, left arm, is going to go round the wicket to the right-handed Peter Handscomb, who's 6 not out. All in green. Agar in red and blue, and back goes Handscomb and plays a very lovely back foot drive square of the wicket on the offside as the Leicestershire la 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 chant goes up around Grace Road. As there's been a pleasant hum all evening. There's been a nice atmosphere tonight at the Uptonsteel County Ground. The left-handed Budinger is in. In comes Agar, and that's a very wide delivery, and that's signalled as such. So my confusion was, if you're watching that on the stream, you will have seen the very sort of low angle of the umpire's arms there. Agar into Budinger, that's a good length delivery. That very difficult to know whether to come forward or back to that, and so Budinger, to be fair, sort of does neither and just drives it out to cover. Agar In, down the ground he comes, he's top heads that, he's going to be caught at backward point by the man there, and that's a big wicket. Agar celebrates what is a big wicket, and Budinger has to depart for 45. Now Northamptonshire really will feel the door is open. Budinger has played a fabulous knock, but there would be frustrations there that he hasn't been able to come on. I think he came down the track to the wrong ball there. It wasn't hit on the half volley, it was hit on the up, and he's 24 ball innings, which featured 2 fours and 5 sixes, has come to an end, and Leicestershire are 72 for 3.
He knew straight away that he'd sliced it up into the air and he was walking off while the ball was in the air. Referee Weatherall, the catcher, so he'll feel a little bit better about that over that saw Budinger hit him for 3 sixes in. Jimmy Neesham comes to the crease now. He too has struggled to make an impact as an overseas player so far for the Foxes. Perhaps today will be his day.
So the new batsman is Jimmy Neesham, as you say, Richard. 112 to win, 11.3 overs remain. It's a fascinating battle. They're up to date with the DLS par. It won't be needed as that big band of grey is disappearing. Reverse sweep, first ball from Neesham, and McManus takes the stumps, or dumps the bails off.
Slightly dangerous, isn't it? Did he signal? He didn't signal wide there, so it must have brushed up head, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a very difficult one, isn't it? When you go for a reverse sweep, it's sort of like, is that a leg side delivery anymore?
It's not. Yeah. You're right. Talking nonsense.
As Agar is in, he plays more sensibly this time. Neesham, he's played very well. He's found the gap fine on the leg side, and that's been saved from a 4, but only just by the fielder at short, fine leg. And they run through 4. Have they got 3 there, Richard?
3, yeah.
Yes, so well run by Neesham and Hanscom, 2 internationals.
Picked his field. I think that's Sanderson out there. Is not quite as quick as some of his younger colleagues.
He saved 1, just kept in. Papara looks like he's going to come back on the field. He's hanging out by the boundary. That's Agar. Big tall man comes in now. Hanscom goes back, clips it into the leg side. He'll get a single. And it's fielded there, but I think that's Vasconcelos out there. Indeed it is. Fielded deep mid-wicket. 76 for 3. And that is the end of the 9th over. Leicestershire need 108 to win off 11 overs. Hanscom 8, Neesham 3. The required run rate up to 9.8. They have the destructive batsman to do it. It's a good partnership. If these two come off, it's the perfect partnership for the game scenario, which is one destructive batsman,
that, yeah.
One sensible player.
Hanscom unlikely to lose his head, and unlike yesterday, he's not coming in sort of dire circumstances, or not quite so dire anyway. Yes, 3 wickets down, but you know, there's a decent score on the board this time, so he can work it around. Papara is in from the Bennett end, bowls that little off spinner to Hanscom, just leans forward, clips it out towards deep mid wicket, takes 1.
Durham look like they're going to beat Notts. They're 65 for 5, the Outlaws, after 10 overs, chasing 161. Worcestershire just coming towards the end of their 17 over innings. 163 for 6. It's a good total from the Rapids, that.
Neesham will be facing Papara for the first time. Big strong man, left-hander, short boundary on the leg side. Papara stays over the wicket, bowls to him. He just waits for it though, and off the back foot pushes it out through wideish mid on, out towards long on, comes in to meet it. 1 is taken. Agar out there. 78 for 3. Neesham on to 4, having a look. A little bit of a look anyway. Papara, a little shuffle in and bowls. That is a slightly quicker ball, but he drags it down a bit, and it's pulled by Hanscom, bounces off the knees of deep mid-wicket, who formed the long barrier, and wisely so, as it turned out, because, as I say, it went through his hands. Willie, it was out there, and but he picked it up quickly, got his throw away, kept Hanscom 2-1. Hanscom into double figures now, on to 10. Papara is in and bowls to Neesham outside off stump. There's an appeal for a catch behind. Well, they are convinced. Certainly McManus is convinced. Papara's appeal seemed to me a little bit belated. And, well, if I was Lewis McManus, I wouldn't make a song and dance about it, and in fairness, he doesn't. Looks disappointed, but he's allowed to look disappointed. Some of the other stuff he's not allowed to do.
It's been a while since the last boundary. It was that 6 from Rafi Weatherall in the 6th over.
Para is in, bowls, clipped off his toes by Neesham, down towards deep backwards square. It's only going to be 1, though. Good throw comes in from the boundary.
It's well fielded. There should really have been 2 there, but the way that they fielded by Vasconcelos.
Vasconcelos is out there, isn't he? Yeah.
Saved the 1. That just put a little bit of doubt in their mind.
80 for 3. McManus claps his gauntlets together as into finishes over comes Bopara and bowls down the leg side. Oh, he's stumped. He is stumped off a wide by McManus. Well, he overbalanced Peter Hanscom, and you can, of course, be stumped off a wide. So although the delivery has to be bowled again, it'll be to a different batsman.
Yeah, and that's a key wicket to fall, the 4th to go. And Leicestershire bat deep, but I think what worries me is they're not really going at a big run rate at the moment. Just 5 off the over so far, including that wide. You don't often see that bowler for wide, do you? Stumped for wide, I should say.
Well, Louis Kimber comes to the crease. Different, very different sort of situation, but different sort of pitch as well. Be really interesting how he gets on tonight, but he should be confident after his efforts yesterday. Sensational half-century off a record low number of balls for the Foxes. Was it 22?
21.
21 in
Rishi
the end.
Patel's was 22 against Northamptonshire at Monty's Road earlier in the season.
Astonishing stuff. Bopara has somehow sort of conjured up a wicket there. Not quite really sure how.
Well, that's what happens. That's what he does, isn't it? It is dippy dobblers, nice bit of movement, swinging it a few ways here and there, but he forces batsmen into mistakes.
In he goes and bowls to Kimber, who times it beautifully through mid-wicket. Willie's in quite close there, so long on has to run around to deep mid-wicket to field, and Kimber picks up a couple.
Tell you what, if you're timing your first ball like that.
83 for 4, so in the end 7 runs from it, but a wicket as well. They are slightly behind on Duckworth Lewis at the moment, and after 10 overs in comparison terms, well, there's nothing in it because Northamptonshire were 87 for 3, so it's going to go the distance. It looks like.
The required rate up over 10 for the first time, but it is manageable. I mean, look, these two are capable of winning the game all on their own. There's about 13 foot of man out there between the wickets.
In width?
Yeah.
Big
massively
men.
broad
Big
shoulders.
fellas,
They're
they?
both over 6'4", and it will be Heldrick, another tall leg spinner, another left armer. He's bowling over the wicket, and that's an inside edge from Neesham. He will get just a single. They trot between the wickets. The ball is whipped in by the fielder at deep backward square leg. And Kimber will face for the first time from the pavilion end. So Heldrick getting his first go in the 11th over. 22-year-old, 10 wickets. He goes at 10 and over though, Richard, that is the thing. And he's in towards us now. Pacey runner. Oh, and he beats him outside off stump, and McManus takes the bails off, but the back foot of Louis Kimber was in. He's 2 not out off 2 deliveries. 100 to win for the Foxes. 9.4 overs. Heldrick in. Back goes Kimber. He's placed that well. That was a good cricket all round, that. Very well bowled from Heldrick. Full length, but forced Kimber to go back because of the flight of the ball. He went back, did Kimber. Timed it nicely down the ground for a single. 85 for 499 to win. Run rate at 10.4. 80 on his back, Heldrick. And he bowls short, and that is heaved by Neesham. Good night. 6 runs. That's a terrible delivery from Neesham, and dispatched as it should have been from the New Zealander. Well over deep mid-wicket, into the Geary bar, where someone might have got their pizza with a extra topping.
Rank along hop. He's got a slightly caddish moustache as Freddie Heldrick, and well, got treated like one.
91 for 4. Neesham on to 12. That's a better delivery from Heldrick. Tosses it up, and it's on a half volley length, and actually it's a misfield. They decide not to go for the second. Possibly it was there, but again, they always say never run off a misfield, don't they? So you can understand why they have decided not to.
That's Miller down there.
So then 1 ball left in the 11th over. 92 for 4 is the score. Heldrick is in, and it's whipped down the ground. It's straight at the fielder, though, at long on. Kimber is timing it beautifully early on in his innings, but he hasn't found the gap as of yet. So that is the end of the over. That's 6, making things look a little bit nicer. Leicestershire 93 for 4. They need 91 to win. They're over halfway, but they've got less than half the innings to go. 9 overs. So they need to go basically 10 and over. 10.1 and over is the task for them.
Do you know what Gus Miller's first names are? Christian names are? Augustus Horatio.
Oh,
Latin, do you think his parents were Latin?
Yes.
Or Roman
Probably.
aficionados? Who knows?
Augustus.
Augustus Horatio, 2 great Roman emperors.
Yes.
Bopara is in and bowls slightly, well, they're all slightly slower deliveries basically, and Kimber clubs it, had to wait for it, clubs it away through the vacant mid-off area out towards long off, takes one, rehearses a shot.
I remember being in the Cotswolds at B&B and running into an Achilles.
Wow.
A man called
Right.
Achilles.
It's a sort of Greek name, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think it is still a current Greek name. I may be wrong.
Is it really?
I think they still, I think it's still used. In goes Bopara, bowls again. It's a little bit short. It's pulled, waited for it. Didn't get up that much. Good relay work. No, not good relay work. Heldrick threw it to his companion who dropped it. And Heldrick in the end picked it up, and a guy in fact picked it up and got his throw away. And in the end, it was 2 runs to Jim Neesham, 15 to him. 96 for 4. Night beginning to settle here at Grace Road. Floodlights are very much in full effect now. Cool evening. It's been a cool summer so far. Bopara is in, bowls to Neesham, who pulls him out towards deep mid-wicket for 4. Again, the gentlest of deliveries from Ravi Bopara, but he's just dropping a little bit too short at the moment, and it's well, it's fodder for someone like Neesham, isn't it, really? As you mentioned club bowling, and it's kind of what I thought when he started bowling like that. Today, it's nothing like he bowled at Wantage Road. It's terribly gentle stuff.
Yeah. And what you realise is when he's dropped it short, that his lengths were spot on in the previous overs.
In he wonders, bowls again to Neesham, better length, so he has to sort of fetch it a little bit, Neesham, and he slightly bottom edges it out towards that wide mid-wicket position to cow corner, and as a consequence it's 1 instead of 4. 101 for 4. Neesham on to 20. 83 needed. Still 10 and over, still got to get them. Kimber waits, bat raised like a cudgel as Bopara is in, bowls to him, and he cudgels it out over mid-wicket for 6.
It's dead flat, wasn't it? Fantastic.
An uncomplicated shot from Louis Kimber, who wanders back, doesn't crack a smile, just pokes at the pitch a little bit, but Bopara getting the punishment that really this sort of bowling should be getting from first class, from top-class cricketers. In he comes and bowls. Kimber just turns his wrists on that as he sort of works it out through mid-on down towards long on, and a rather disconsolate Ravi Bopara swipes at the air with his cap, having taken it from umpire Ashraf. 108 for 4 at the end of the over, so 15 from the over. That has done the Foxes cause no harm at all.
Again, it sort of fits into that feast or famine style that we've had of the innings, where we've had lots of 1 run, 3 runs, 4 runs, but plenty off the last 10 and 15, 25 off the last 2 overs. These 2 are capable of winning this game in the next 5 overs, never mind the next 8, which is what remains for Leicestershire to get the 76 runs that they need.
Change of ball is required, says umpire Pollard, and he actually rather abruptly gestures to umpire Ashraf to come with him so they can both choose a replacement ball. On comes Tom Scriven with the James Bond briefcase.
hum around Grace Road. 108 for 4 is the score. 184, sorry, the target for the Foxes to win this game.
Yeah, the crowd's fairly confident, isn't it? I think rightly so. It feels that way.
I think that's largely because of the players that are in. Kimber's timed it beautifully since he's come in. Neesham has taken advantage of the bad balls cleverly in his innings so far. He's still got the bowlers. They finally decided on a ball, and so Freddie Heldrick. It must be difficult because, you know, how many matches are bowled with 12 overs gone to the point where you have a ball that is of that ilk. I mean, imagine if it's 5 overs old and it gets lost. How many games are over after 5? I wonder if they use up balls for 5 overs for this exact scenario.
Neesham, of course, asked to see the ball. Familiar with all the Northamptonshire players, I assume.
It is Heldrick to continue, and that's a big hit from Kimber. He's got 6 runs. So it's a wide, long-on area. It was too short. The ball didn't really get up that much, but Kimber was onto it very quickly indeed and has whipped it away for a maximum. And that, again, is a fabulous shot. And the longer these two are in, the more likely a Leicestershire win becomes. So 70 or 47 now needed.
Yeah. The more often he drops short, the more likely a Leicestershire win becomes as well. And the last couple of overs have been some absolute, well, filth, really.
Yeah. Short balls. Heldrick it is, bowling from the pavilion end, left arm over the wicket, tosses this one up, and Kimber goes for a drive over towards Cow Corner and gets a single for his trouble. Heldrick none for 16 from 1.2 overs. You can see why he gets wickets, but you can also see why he gets hit. It's one of 10 wickets at 10 and over he's gone for so far in this competition, the Northamptonshire Academy graduate. And he comes now. And bowls straight to delivery. That's a very good delivery. That may well have been the googly. Came into the left-handed Neesham, that one. He's 20 not out off 12 deliveries. Kimber 19 off 9. Remarkable 50 scored by Kimber yesterday, but he would have wanted to have gone on, finish the job, and he couldn't. Will he do it today? Neesham is on strike, though, the left-hander. As Heldrick comes in, down the pitch comes Neesham, smacks it down the ground, and a single is taken. He didn't time it hugely, hit it straight into the ground. So there's a left-hand, right-hand combination batting. So it will be Kimber who is on strike now as Neesham tosses from right hand to left. Left arm comes over the wicket. Bowl short. Kimber's hit this, but he hasn't got all of it. I think he's going to be caught, is he? Oh no, it's dropped. It's a fabulous effort. Willie is furious with himself because he did get to it. He would have grasped it basically off the floor, but it has spilt out. And Willie is gutted with himself as a chance goes. It was right there to be hit. It was too short from Heldrick. And Kimber goes back and gets a single for it and survives. 117 for 4. Heldrick to Neesham, hits it high in the air. He's got all of that, I can tell you, on a hard volley. Oh, and it hits the back of a bench, and not even attempted catch. There was one man on the front row who went for it, but that man behind him just let it crash over his shoulder. I can't believe the nonchalance of some of the people in the crowd. 6 runs to Neesham. That's a great end to the over, and Leicestershire well on top at the moment. The score 1-2-3 for 4, so 15 off that over the 13th. Leicestershire acquire 61 from 42 deliveries, and that run rate down at 8.7 now. They're well ahead of the run rate. Kimber 20, Neesham 27.
Yeah, in control at the moment, the Foxes, of their fate.
This has been an enjoyable innings, hasn't it? We've seen plenty of sixes, plenty of big hits. We saw, how many have you seen? 5 from Budinger, 2 from Neesham, 1 from Kimber. Actually, the other way around, 1 from Neesham, 2 from Kimber.
David Willey, with no choice really, brings himself back on from the Bennett end, bowls to Kimber, tucks him up slightly with a ball that might just have shaped back in a fraction, probably not at this stage. And Kimber tucks it out towards mid-on. Sanderson comes in from long on to field. Kimber takes 1. That's all they need really to do. They can afford to work it around against Willie if they need to. Although his first 2 overs were fairly parsimonious, as I recall, at Wantage Road, and then he got a bit of punishment after that. But has just conceded 3 runs from his 2 overs and 1 ball. Neesham looks around him. as the field is reset for the left-hander, the left-handed New Zealander. Willie comes in, slightly open stance for Neesham. Willie bowls to him outside off stump, foolish delivery, appeal for a catch behind, not really from McManus, but it looked to bounce actually after he attempted to drive it away, really. It hit the return crease and popped up into the air slightly, but it was a most optimistic appeal on the part of David Willey, and umpire Ashraf did not respond. Look at it.
Just reiterating Willie's figures. 1 for 3 off 2.2 overs. I wonder whether Leicestershire will just see him off.
Economical run down the slope, bowl, just waits for it on off stump, dabs it out towards gully. There is a misfield moving around to his right by Breitska as a consequence, although somebody is covering behind him. The man from short third, Heldrick, they still managed to pick up 1.
59 from 39 required for
You'd be
Leicestershire.
worried if you were playing club cricket, but not these guys. Willie into Kimber on 21 off 11 bowls, short pulled in the air, that should be out and is out. Caught at a square leg, running in from deep backwards square, top edged by Louis Kimber, and Willie has done it again for his side. Is it too late? They are still a little bit behind in terms of sort of Duckworth-Lewis, even with that wicket taken, but another wicket goes for the Foxes. This game isn't over yet.
Yeah, it's a key wicket. As part of me, it's easy for me to say this in hindsight, that wonders whether they could have just seen Willie off. They did have the time and the ability to do that. They just weren't able to get him away. Cox comes in now, the ever dependable. He's got a 50 against Worcestershire. His third of this T20 campaign. Rishi Patel's got into the 40s a few times. You'd probably say he has been the most consistent as Patel, but Cox has been right behind him.
Yeah, I've had a few comments to the effect that sort of the likes of Goldsworthy and Cox should perhaps be coming in ahead of the likes of Neesham, to be honest, and you can understand the point that's being made, really.
So 59 to win off 38. It's just all about Leicestershire avoiding Northamptonshire getting on top of them. That run rate dropping and losing wickets.
Willie then, how many balls to go in the over? 2 to go in the over. Comes in and bowls to Ben Cox into the body, but Cox up on his toes, turning it around the corner. Breitska, who took the catch off Kimber, comes running in and fields, throws on the bounce to McManus. 1 is taken. 126 for 5, 58 off 6.1, 58 off 37 legitimate deliveries then. 5 wickets in hand. Neesham, 28 off 16, his best innings, or his most productive innings for the Foxes so far. Willie is in, bowls to him, just slightly short, outside off stump, waits for it, pulls it around the corner, down towards long gone, wideish long gone, and takes 1. But another successful over for David Willey, who has 2 for 6 from 3 overs, which in the context of the game, in the context of any game, is a pretty sensational effort.
Yeah, 57 from 36 needed for Leicestershire to win this game. The run rate at 9.5. Leicestershire sort of just been going above and below it just the whole time. The Duckworth-Lewis at 122. So they are ahead on that.
Guess how many Northants have scored after 14 overs?
Is it 127?
It's 127.
Wow. And again, what Leicestershire will think was they did have that, they had a very busy period from this point in, didn't they, Northampton, where they got, I think, 4 overs with over 10 runs scored in a row. But then they got wickets, Leicestershire, to completely stop them in their tracks. So, how will they fare? They need to go at 9.5 and over, the Foxes. Ashton Agar will bowl his final over from the pavilion end. And he bowls a straight delivery, and a very good one to Jimmy Neesham. He's 29 not out. He goes back and defends. No run. Played plenty of cricket, has Ashton Agar. Loads of international cricket. Was part of the T20 World Cup set up for the Australians. Reverse sweep attempted from Neesham, and it goes through to Cox. Another dot ball. It's a premeditated shot. Agar, I think, just saw him coming a little bit, dragged his length back a tiny bit, and it bounced up above him. 57 from 34 now. And Neesham goes back, that's in the air, but is he going to get 4 for it? Yes, he is. Finds the gap, does Neesham. Just latched right onto a tiny bit of room given to him. Slightly back of a length. And he was onto it in a flash, Neesham. Cracked it away for 4 runs. He's on to 33. Leicestershire on to 131 for 5. 53 to win, sorry, of 33. Agar in, and Neesham goes for it again, and he's hit that high in the air, and he's going to get a 1 bounce 4. This vital stuff from Neesham again. Poor ball from Agar, dropping his length too short, and Neesham moved across his stumps and just sort of turned his wrists on it.
He's giving him pace to work with as well, isn't he? Sort of trying to push it through a bit, and I'm not quite sure why really. And so he can help it on its way. He doesn't have to necessarily sort of fetch it.
Under 50. 49 from 32. Agar in. Neesham swipes at that. 6. Big 6 from Neesham. 4, 4, 6 from the past 3 deliveries. Neesham's in the groove, and he smacked that right onto it. Too full this time from Agar, and he got a big Kiwi left foot out in front of it and swiped it away for 6 runs over deep mid wicket. So that may well, these 3 boundaries may well have done it for Leicestershire. 1-4-1 for 5, 43 to win off 31. 1 ball left in the 15th. Agar in. Back goes Neesham, cuts it, and they'll get at least 1 for that. Will they go for the second? No, they don't. And Neesham will keep the strike. Ahead of the 16th over, 15 gone. Leicestershire are 142 for 5. They've cut that run rate right down to 8.4 as a result. They need 42 to win. Off will be 32 deliveries, Richard, now with 4 overs to go. Yes.
42 off
5 overs.
Yeah,
sorry, 5 to go.
Off 30, so strong favourites. You would think from here that over, which costs 15, really does seem to have swung it very firmly in the Foxes' direction. They would be hugely disappointed not to get across the line from here.
Strange over that from Agar, wasn't it? Got his lengths all wrong and allowed Neesham to open up.
Sanderson, whose 2 overs so far have cost 21. Very expensive by his standards. The Yorkshireman comes down the slope from the Bennett end and bowls to Neesham, who clubs him out to square leg for 4. Right in front of the popular stand over there. Their hands were raised as they saw it racing towards them. Very, very strong man, Jimmy Neesham, and having no mercy on his former Northamptonshire teammates. Moves on to 48. Leicestershire supporters loving this. 146 for 5, 38 to win. Sanderson is in. Neesham swings across the line. Sanderson is a celeb appealing, really, and can't believe it. Stands there with his hands on his hips. For me, it looked to be going slightly down leg side. We're not in a perfect line of sight. We'll have a look at the replay as and when we get the chance.
Well, Stuart Broad would have been proud of that one, wouldn't he? And there he's, again, Sanderson having a few words with Neesham, which is just reminding me of what happened last time Neesham was on this ground. Where
it pitched outside leg,
yeah.
Miles outside leg. It might well have gone on to hit leg stump, but it pitched outside leg. I'm afraid. Perfect decision, perfectly correct decision from Ashraf, despite the fact that Sanderson, as you say, is telling his former teammate that he's been very, very fortunate indeed. 147 for 5, 37 to win. Sanderson cutting a frustrated figure out there. Comes in and bowls to Ben Cox, who goes back and turns it off the stumps off his legs out towards backward square. Takes a single. Cox, in his current form, the ideal man really to play foil to Jimmy Neesham in these circumstances. Get your ones, get down the other end, get the big hitter on strike. The big hitter who is connecting at the moment. Neesham needs a single for his first Foxes 50. Sanderson is in, bowls to him, short ball, pulled, top, clothed it rather, out towards square leg, but it is the single that Neesham needed, because the men out on the boundary obviously nowhere near being able to take the catch. Neesham's 50 came off 26 deliveries.
It's been a great innings from Neesham just when Leicestershire needed it. It's come off 26, as you say, 4 fours, 3 sixes.
35.
Shame we didn't get more of Kimber and Neesham. That would have been a lot of fun. But Cox, the perfect man in this position. You just know he won't give his wicket away doing something silly.
Sanderson is in, bowls 2 Cox, slower delivery, fullish outside off stump. Cox looked to drive, got there a fraction early, picked out Zaib in the covers, and there's no run.
So they can afford to go. We've got 35 off 25 now. They can afford to just play it around a bit. They've really got in. Maybe they will maybe want another 2 from this innings. Note this over. Another boundary would be very helpful, but.
Sanderson to finish his over is in. Cox drives, thick outside edge. It's going to run down to third man. There is no third man, so not going Ben Sanderson's way, I'm afraid, from Northamptonshire's point of view. Leicestershire's edges, by and large, have evaded the fielders and gone to the boundary. One thinks of Rehan Ahmed. Cox moves on to 6. 150 is up for Leicestershire, 153 to be exact. They need 31 from the last 4 overs. Should be straightforward.
But it needs, if one big over from Neesham, who will have the strike at this at the start of this next over, and it won't be over, but it could be job done. But they don't need to. They can just hit it around, can't they? Play it for singles, 1s and 2s from here on in, and they will get themselves home. That's a big boundary that for them. Cox 6, Neesham 50. Reminder, we're back with you live on Sunday as Leicestershire continue their T20 campaign. They play Notts Outlaws.
2:30 start?
Yes. And
Notts was struggling at Durham last time, and they're almost all out. 117 for 9 they are, chasing 160. So Durham are going to win that game. So big showdown against a struggling Outlaws side for the Foxes on Sunday.
It's going to be a great finish either way, isn't it, between a load of teams. Hopefully Leicestershire are in that battle for one of the 4 spots for a quarter-final. David Willey brings himself back on from the pavilion end. 2 for 6 of his 3 overs so far. As he faces Neesham, 50 not out, and bowls a full toss, which Neesham carves away. He's not going to get 4 this time. Yes, he is. Oh, it's misfielded. It's misfielded by the man at deep mid-wicket. It just bobbled and bounced in front of him. I think it's Agar out there. Was it Breitzer?
Agar, you could be right. It's tall, isn't it? It's taller, yeah.
Yeah, it's Agar, and it's a difficult one. You look like a fool when it happens, but I think it was a difficult one for him. 4 more added to the total. 54 to Neesham, 157 for 5, 27 now off 23.
Should have stopped it. Bad mistake.
That's the first boundary conceded off David Willey's bowling. He's running away from us now. A long run up, left arm. He bowls this bouncer, and Neesham tries to pull it. He was too early on it though that time. He was through the shot before it reached him, and the slower bouncer just played into the leg side means Neesham moves on to 55. 158 for 5, 26 to win of 24. Leicestershire fans, you can hear. David Willey is marshalling his troops. So we've got a man here going from the leg side to the off into a mid-wicket position into cover. And Saif Zaib is trundling in to have a chat, and Willey is finally ready. There's no men in, bar mid on inside the rope, but good Yorker from Willey. So no men on the leg side inside inside the circle, only mid on there. Fine leg, deep backward square leg, deep mid wicket, deep extra cover, third man. All the fielders out at the moment. Leicestershire 158 for 5. Cox waits 6 from 6. In comes Willey and bowls a beauty. Outside Cox is off stump, and it zips off the pitch with a bit of away movement. And that was too good for Cox. That was too good for pretty much anybody from Willey. Ex-England international. Ex-Yorkshireman. Started though at Northamptonshire.
Really unlucky not to play in the T20 World Cup.
Beautifully just moved away, didn't it, from McManus? As Willie waits and bowls on Cox's pads, and he whips him away for a single to mid-wicket. That's okay. With the boundary that's already come off the over, Leicestershire will probably feel they've already got enough off Willie. They need to go at 8 and over. They're going at 9.5 right now. 25 to win of 19 deliveries for the Foxes. Neesham's there, Leicestershire win. It's as simple as that. 55 from 28 he is. The New Zealander made the impression that he would have wanted on this game, that's for certain. Still having a chat out there. Willie is a disgruntled man. He'll be annoyed if it's been quite a lot of misfielding from the Northamptonshire players. As he runs away from us now, up to the wicket he bowls, and Neesham pulls him around the corner. This is in the air, but it's 6. There's a fine leg down there, but he had no hope. And despite a despairing jump, it went over his right hand for 6 runs. Neesham moves into the 60s. Leicestershire finish the over with a flourish. They need 19 off 18 deliveries, and they should be home from here.
Yeah, in the end, 11 from the over. And it should be, as you say, straightforward from here. Well, Neesham's getting some sort of drying agent. He's rubbing it on his hands at the moment. Perhaps some replacement gloves as well. 61 of 29 for Neesham. 19 off 18 balls. It looks like it's going to be that young Weatherall who's going to, bless him, try and pull this one out of the fire for the Steelbacks. Even if Northamptonshire lose this game, they're still firmly in the quarter-final picture, and the last 2 games are going to be really interesting. Did we say that they had a game in hand, or was it Durham who had the game in hand?
Quite a few had a game in hand.
Had the game in hand. But we'll have a look at the table at the end of play. It is going to be Weatherall, who conceded 21 from his first over. In from the Bennett end. Bowles. That's a decent shout for a leg before, and he's gone. Cox was looking to work that one away into the leg side. It was a very full delivery, hit him very low. Certainly height wasn't the issue. If it was straight, there was only one possible decision. It was straight, said umpire Ashraf, and sends Cox on his way. Is there going to be a late twist?
Just watching the replay now, it's plumb. Just a bit of movement, just a bit of a way swing. I saw Neesham just asking Cox if it moved away, and it did. Full delivery, and Mike comes in to try and finish the job for the Foxes.
Well, we're getting good Ben today, aren't we, from Leicestershire's point of view with his bowling, so hopefully we will with his batting as well. Yeah, Northampton do have that game in hand, don't they? So it's going to be very, very tight in the chase for those other 2 quarter-final places, the 2 away quarter-finals, most likely. But
yeah, Leicestershire will go on to 12 points as a result of this, so they will move into, regardless of the results, they will move in. No, sorry, not regardless of the result. Regardless of what else happens, they will move into the top 4 today, but they will have played 1 game more than the majority of the division.
they have not quite won yet, however. A little bit of work still to do. 19 needed off 17 balls. Weatherall. Longish run up on his toes, comes in and bowls to Mike, who leaves outside off stump. Rehearses a firm drive away through the covers. Well, that's fine. Got a couple of balls in hand at least to have a little bit of a look.
It's just there would be a little bit of nervousness about the wickets. That's the only thing that's counting against them right now.
Just realised that as amongst in the work that has been done on the clock, come back to that in a minute. Weatherall is in, bowls to Mike down the leg side, that'll be wide. Can't believe it, Weatherall. It was a horrible delivery. Well taken by McManus, but a wide is added to the Leicestershire score. They've put a little light in there, so the clock atop the cupola clock on atop the manual scoreboard is now nicely lit up as well as working. That's rather charming.
Weren't you saying that it was? Is it from a shopping centre originally? It was designed to.
I think it was, yeah, back in when it it was certainly wasn't for where it is. It wasn't for the club. In goes Weatherall, bowls down the wicket goes Ben Mike, carves it away out to the backward point boundary, and it takes just the one. But Leicestershire stepped in, bought it for, I think it was £5,000 back in the 1990s, I think.
Is that when it was, the 1990s?
No, it wasn't as long ago as you think. The clock.
Yeah.
The clock is a late addition, a later addition to the manual score. Not much later, actually. The whole edifice is not that as old as you might think, but it is, as I say, the only real building of any architectural merit one feels on the ground, frankly. Well, it is. It's
well,
rather charming, isn't it, when you look
around?
It's
lovely.
There's nothing wrong with any of the modern buildings, and the Meet has its own particular ambience, but architectural merit now.
It's one of 2 manual scoreboards left in the country.
Correct.
Kent, the other one?
Kent, yeah. In goes Weatherall and bowls outside off stump, swing and a miss from Jimmy Nish. Stays on 61, 167 for 6, 17 needed off 14 balls. Why does umpire Ashraf want to have a look at the ball? He did. Willie threw it to him obligingly. Umpire Ashraf inspects it and throws it back. All the ball did was hit the pitch on that occasion and went straight into the gloves of McManus, who's shed his Northamptonshire cap. Bareheaded, he awaits the delivery from Weatherall, who's in, and that is disappearing over the Meet for 6. Well, Weatherall might have his hands on his head, but he was absolutely there for Jimmy Neesham, the left-hander, who's shown in what good form he is in and how strong he is. Short boundary, out of the ground, says the scoreboard, the electronic scoreboard, and so it is. Neesham moves on to 67. Just 11 now needed for the Foxes to get across the line.
Crunched into the roof of the Meet, the aforementioned Meet. Sounded like a nut cracking on top of the roof. Fabulous hit, and Leicestershire now need under a run of ball. Great knock from Neesham, just when Leicestershire needed it, wasn't it? Just when they needed their overseas player, he's come in and played an innings of real destruction.
David Willey gives his young pacer a little bit of advice. 29 conceded from 1.5 overs for Weatherall, albeit that he did pick up the wicket earlier in the over of Ben Cox. In he comes to try and finish his over strongly. Bowls, it's a good Yorker, it's going down the leg side, comes off the pad. There's a sort of half-hearted appeal from McManus. It bounces out into the offside. Willie Fields, end of the over, leg by taken, means that the Foxes will need 10 from the final 2 overs, and they will try, I suspect, to finish it in this over. You don't like to try don't like necessarily to take it to the last over, and I'm pretty sure that Messrs Neesham and Mike will try and finish it quickly. 10 off that over in the end.
Interesting game at Edgbaston, by the way. Worcestershire got 187 for 6 off 17 overs. They had a delayed start, and the Bears 43 for 3 off 5. So that could be an interesting one. I don't think that
really affect.
No,
anything,
it doesn't. It doesn't bring.
Worcester aren't going to go up. Bears are not going to not qualify.
No, it doesn't bring. It doesn't bring them back into the race, does it? So as it stands, Birmingham 16, Lancashire 15, and Northamptonshire 12, Derbyshire 12. Derbyshire 11, sorry.
Could bring him into the home quarter-final equation, though.
As the new over begins, and it's bowled by Sanderson. It's a very good bouncer, that, from Sanderson, and he's told that that's your one for the over, but it was a good one. So Derbyshire, Yorkshire and Durham on 11, Leicestershire on 10. So if Leicestershire to win this game, they will move into 4th, above Derbyshire, but they will have played 12, and Derbyshire and Durham will have played 11.
Does feel that run rates are going to be a factor in this come the end of the group stages.
But Leicestershire will continue to have a positive run rate if they win this game. They've got a positive run rate at the moment. Northamptonshire have a negative one, and again, if they lose, that will be made worse. In comes Sanderson. He bowls to Neesham, who hits high in the air. Now there's a fielder out there. I think he's going to be caught, you know, Neesham. He is fabulously caught. He went for the big hit, did Neesham, and that was a really, really good catch from the man at mid-off, and, well, who knows? Is there a sting in the tail? 10 needed from 10 now for Leicestershire, and Neesham has holed out.
Getting plenty of applause, and deservedly so, for his 67. That was a really good catch.
Yeah, running away. It came over his shoulder again from behind.
It was Willie out there, wasn't it?
Yeah. Was it Willie?
It was. Punched the air, the Northamptonshire captain. They haven't given up yet.
First, when he hit that, I thought he'd got all of it, and then it was, or that he was at least going to get it over the infield. That it was going to be safe. So Leicestershire still needs. They've only got 3 wickets left, the Foxes. So this is still in the balance. I can still give 60-65% to Leicestershire.
Goldsworthy is a good bat, isn't he?
Yeah.
Very much a batting all-rounder, although his left arm spin has been very effective in the T20 for the Foxes, but he's a very competent young batsman.
And the man who's 4 from the final delivery earned the tie in the reverse fixture. What can him and Ben Mike do? 2 all-rounders at the crease, and Sanderson 1 for 32 his figures off 3.2 overs. He's in now. He bowls to Goldsworthy and he plays it straight back to him. Dot ball, 10 off 9. Oh, I didn't see this being tense,
wicket made
Richard.
might not necessarily be a good thing from Leicestershire's point of view.
3 balls gone and no runs off it so far, and a wicket. I didn't think it was going to be tense, Richard, but here we are again.
So we're okay. Leicester will be okay.
Oh, yeah, his famous last words from Richard Ray there. In comes Sanderson, bowls to Goldsworthy, who drives and gets it through. Now, is that going to go for 4? It's racing away. There's a fielder racing round. They are going to get there. It's just going to be 2 runs. Man racing round from point. Stops it. 2 to Goldsworthy. So we are 8 from 8. Great drive from Goldsworthy. A textbook cover drive. And I feel you're much calmer than me. My emotions are sort of swaying, and my confidence of a Leicestershire win is going right up and down. It's much higher after that 2 from Goldsworthy. In comes Sanderson again, bowls to Goldsworthy, late cut and gets that away. That should be 2 more as well, as Goldsworthy with a beautiful late cut finds the gap. 2 more. Great stuff from Goldsworthy, showing a calm head as he moves on to 4. 1-7, 8 for 7. So that means now that it's 6 to win off 7. 1 blow away, Leicestershire, but Goldsworthy is not the type to come in and smack it, is he? That's a great shot. Just watching the replay, just as a slower ball just held it back a tiny bit and Goldsworthy was onto it. He's 4 not out. Sanderson runs in. Goldsworthy goes for the big hit. Now he's hit that really well. It's going to go for 4. Is it through mid-wicket? Yes! 4 runs. You could hear the explosion, that celebration, as Goldsworthy finds the boundary off the final ball of the penultimate over. Full from Sanderson, and it was driven down the ground and makes its way for 4 runs. Big celebrations there from the Leicestershire faithful. They should win this game now. They only need 3 from the final over as Goldsworthy moves on to 8. What an over from him.
Yeah, those last 3 balls, none from the first 3, 8 from the second 3, all sort of properly hit, cleanly hit by Goldsworthy. He's a very, very calm and impressive young man, very talented prospect as well, on loan at Leicestershire, remember, from Somerset. 182 for 7. Then they need just 2 to win. 3 wickets in hand, 6 balls. Ben Mike is going to be on strike. Wetherall, you feel, is going to have to take a hat-trick if Northamptonshire is somehow going to pull this one out of the fire. In he comes, over the wicket to Ben Mike. Bowls, Mike slugs him over mid-wicket. That should be the 2 that the Foxes need. Might go to the boundary, doesn't matter. Either way, it does go to the boundary. Leicestershire have won by 3 wickets. They have kept their hopes of qualification for the T20 quarterfinals very much alive. 2 games to go, at home to Nottinghamshire on Sunday, away to Birmingham the following Friday. Will they need to win both? They'll certainly need to win one of them, but they are very much in it as they go, as they await the arrival of Nottingham in 2 days' time.
Yeah, that was the 2 key contributors. Budinger 45 from 25. His 5-6s early doors gave them the start they needed. And Neesham 67 off 34 has given them a 3-wicket victory, Jack. And they're still alive, and they have given themselves a decent chance now of getting through.
Still alive, as you say. How important to get the win, particularly the way they did, Richard, because it was another game that ebbed and flowed. It felt more tense than maybe it needed to towards the end, but how important that they got over the line?
Yeah, they you know, it may be that we do have to go to Birmingham, table-topping Birmingham, and have to win. However, you know, it was absolutely vital that they won this one and got across the line. I can see there you're going to hopefully have a word with Jimmy Neesham shortly. But yeah, wonderful for the confidence after, remember, 4 games when they weren't able to win, and you know, they needed to end that run and they needed to end it well. They did rather limp across the line in the end. Three wickets wasn't as big a margin of victory as it looked like it was going to be at one stage. It's never easy to chase down a total of more than 180, and the fact that they managed to do it will give them a lot of confidence.
As you mentioned, I'm hoping Jimmy Neesham's going to wander over, so keep an eye on me. But how much credit does he deserve for that innings that, well, didn't quite see them over the line in terms of getting towards the end, but what a contribution it was from their overseas man.
He came in 72 for 3, let's not forget, when Budinger had just got out, and so to come in and hit that 67, 5 6s, loads of pace to his knock was absolutely fantastic. You've got him there, Jack.
I have. I'm joined by Jimmy Neesham. Congratulations, first of all. How important to get the win as a team, first of all?
Well, the most important thing, yeah. So obviously you had a couple of probably below standard performances the last couple of games, but you're obviously still in the hunt for the quarterfinals based off the good work earlier in the season. So just good to get that momentum back.
And you personally, you've come in, we've been waiting, I think, for